Brooks for a very long time.
You did know, did you?
Kind of did.
He's got married for third time lucky today.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought I'd better
He didn't
play.
learn from the first two times.
Icky breaky heart. But hopefully that's it now.
Do you think?
I don't know.
Once
Never.
you've done it 3 times,
Do you know?
you just keep going, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
Can we have a good show?
you have a lovely day, Lee, and we'll see you for the last day of the week tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday.
All right,
isn't
God
it?
bless you,
Good
Lee.
luck, yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay, it is 9 o'clock, time for news update, and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. It's emerged the government still hasn't approved a Donegal County Council programme to address the impact of defective blocks on its own social housing stock. The programme was submitted to the government 2 years ago this month. Members were told at a special council meeting that at least 20% of the council's houses are affected. With more, here's Donna Marie Doherty.
The council has a social housing stock of approximately 5,000 units, and this week's special meeting on housing was told that visual surveys showed that approximately 1,000 council-owned social homes show evidence of pattern cracking, which is consistent with defective concrete blocks. Officials warned it's likely that the final number will be considerably higher. In October 2021, the council made a comprehensive submission to the department seeking approval for the remediation of the council-owned damaged homes over a 4-year programme. The following February, the department sanctioned the appointment of a dedicated project team, but it hasn't yet approved the programme. In July of last year, the council submitted an approval request for a pilot project on 60 vacant social homes damaged by defective concrete blocks. However, approval has not been forthcoming to date. The council has begun preparatory work on assessing those houses, pending departmental approval.
Donegal County Council is being asked to help resolve issues regarding access onto the beach at Port Salon. Damage to a pedestrian bridge means that people walking the bridge at the beach can now only access the rest of the beach through the local golf club, and that's potentially dangerous as the route is close to the fairway leading to the second hole. Responding to a motion from Councillor Jimmy Kavanagh, Councillor Liam Blaney said the council put up the bridge 20 years ago, but no department is taking responsibility for it now. The council says it's working with the club in a bid to find a solution. Councillor Blaney says there's been plenty of talking. It's time for action.
The dialogue has been on this last number of years, Donald, and I think it's time that there was action now instead of dialogue. With enough dialogue done, it's a danger for the people walking. They have to go up on the second fairway and the Port Salon Golf Club to get round the stream to go back and walk the beach again. And it's unfair to the golf club that nobody seems to take responsibility for fixing the bridge that's there. At the end of the day, it was Donegal County Council that put the bridges there in the first place, and I think it's Donegal County Council, whatever section should be held, we should have a responsibility for replacing them.
Family farms are being put at risk by drug debts racked up by young farmers. An Irish Country Living investigation has found people in rural areas all over the country are buying cocaine on social media, leading to an increase in the number of young farmers seeking help with their addictions. Drugs counsellors say it's those aged 18 to 30 who are most affected. Katrina Morrissey is deputy editor with the Irish Farmers Journal. She says drug dealers are effectively viewing the farming community as ATMs.
You know, the dealers see a farm and see money, and then ultimately have that person in debt, which leads to further problems, because once you're in debt, you're beholden to the dealer, and then you have the families when they do find out, are willing to try and obviously get their family member out of trouble. They need to clear the debt.
Weather now in Met Éireann tell us it'll be largely dry with a mix of cloud and sunny spells today. Some spots of drizzle possible near the coast. Cloud will thicken this afternoon in top temperatures of 11 to 13 degrees Celsius with light southwesterly or variable breezes fresh along the coast. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 10 o'clock. Regular updates on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
For unbelievable value, head to Aldi this Halloween with pumpkins in store now from $1.29. Children's Halloween costumes only $6.99. In store 1st of October. Spooktacular snacks and tasty treats from 79 cents. And devilish Halloween decorations from $1.99 in store the 1st of October. So if you want to conjure up something really wicked, it's got to be Aldi, Ireland's most reputable supermarket.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. It's just turning 5 minutes past 9 on this Thursday, the 12th of October 2023. How are you keeping? Good morning to you all. I hope you are very well indeed, and you're on board now for the next 3 hours here in the 9 till noon show and throughout the day here on your number one local radio station, Highland Radio. Donna Marie's in the hot seat today, and she's taking your calls on 07491 25,000. If you want to join the conversation or start your own. If you're listening from outside the Republic, 00353 7491 25,000. WhatsApps and text to 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, and of course you can send your WhatsApp voice messages to that number as well. And you want to email the show, please, comments at highlandradio.com. Busy morning for newspapers today. Let's start with the Tyrconnell Tribune. John McAteer has a full budget analysis. He's entitled it A Budget So Easily Forgotten. But elsewhere, there's anger over tree felling on Leitrim Estate. As a major tree felling operation is ongoing on the Leitrim Estate near Mulroy Bay, angry members of the community in Carragart and Fanet says they've only become aware of the development in recent weeks. Amid this disbelief to the felling of the ancient trees, members of the community say they understand that a previous public notice seeking planning was located on a private road to Manavaughan House and not visible from a public road. Locals said that at a recent notice seeking a felling licence was posted close to a public road near Mulroy Bay in recent months. The name and address of the owner is redacted on the schedule that locals have now sourced. The paper understands that in all, 16 locations on the estate are subject to the felling licence, and the overall area involved is in the region of 150 acres, and a number of the licences were granted back in 2022. On to the Donegal news there. Mum due to give birth a week before eviction. A man who's facing being made homeless in Letterkenny with his pregnant wife days after she gives birth, along with their 3-year-old daughter, has said he fears his family will not find another home. The family is one of 19, and we spoke to the mother in that family. It's one of 19 living in the Forest Ballymacool housing estate who are facing eviction. The man was told last Friday that he and his family will have to move out of their home in the first week of April. His wife, Alexandra, is due to give birth to their second child in the last week of March. And as I say, we spoke to Alexandra on the programme, and obviously incredibly distressed and worried, especially as it comes up to Christmas. The same story on the front of the Donegal Democrat. On the Derry News now, Clinuvel, the pharmaceutical company which has developed a successful treatment for the life-limiting condition erythropoietic, and apologies for not being able to pronounce that correctly, it's shortened EPP. Well, it's preparing to mount a legal challenge in the form of a judicial review against the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence. The company is also planning to issue civil proceedings against NICE in November. NICE is the organisation tasked with deciding which treatment should be available on the NHS. In England, it also aims to make sure that people have the same access to treatment and care wherever they live. On to the Nationals now, and the Irish Independent. Crisis-hit RTE is facing a 95 million black hole in its finances, but the cash-strapped broadcaster won't say if a top executive got a golden handshake going out the door. A 40 million bailout from the taxpayer is being withheld until RTE provides a plan for delivering significant cutbacks and savings. However, a coalition TD is warning a blank cheque should not be offered to RTE. RTE will be slimmed down under a cost-cutting plan, but compulsory redundancies are being ruled out. Voluntary severance packages, a sell-off of some land at the Montrose headquarters, and the privatisation of 2FM is still on the table. However, a complete move from the Donnybrook campus is being ruled out. The shortfall in licence fee revenue since the Ryan Tubridy payment scandal could now cost RTE 61 million over the next year. Over this year and next, but the government are bailing them out. 16 million interim funding, I think, has been confirmed for RTE. That cost-cutting plan is to be published in early November, and you can be sure then that 40 million, the balance of which will be forthcoming. No such funding rush for health in this country. Minister for Health, Stephen Donnelly, has said that there will be a shortfall in the health budget next year. This is the Irish Times. Just a day after budget allocations were announced, Mr. Donnelly has admitted that the funding estimated by his department to be required by the health service next year was not granted in the budget. He told the Irish Times, like this year, it is entirely likely that a supplementary budget will be required next year because of healthcare inflation and patient demand. So you'd imagine at a time when clearly there's more pressure on the health service, not least because of a growing population, that the funding for the health service would go up. Now, you know, as I say, there is a feeling out there, let's not throw good money after bad and spend the money that's there more efficiently. But there's obviously, we know there's more pressure on the health service, yet there's no more money for it. The government has allocated 1.1 billion supplementary estimate. It'll be brought before the Dáil this year to meet the funding shortfall for the health service this year. But a recruitment freeze is being introduced in parts of the health service to address the massive overspend in the sector. In a further cost-saving measure, there will be no dedicated funding for new drugs next year, Minister for Health Stephen Donnelly has announced. Some 162 new hospital beds will be opened next year, along with 22 critical care beds, Mr. Donnelly said at a press briefing on the health aspects of Budget 2024 yesterday. The Health Service Executive has said it expects to incur a 1.5 billion deficit by the end of the year, due mainly to inflation and increased patient demand. So there are going to be cancer patients who need drugs that won't be able to get them. There is a recruitment freeze. What does that mean in terms of services? It's so complicated and convoluted, it's hard to know. Not many beds opening there right across the country. And yet we dig deep elsewhere. Maybe you think horse racing is really important, or greyhound racing. Agriculture Minister Charlie McConalogue, he confirmed €95 million for horse and greyhound racing, the majority of which, €76 million, goes to the horse racing industry. And you might say, well, of course, but the horse racing industry, generates, I don't know, do you feel it generates anything for you? I mean, how many cancer patients would that 76 million fund for experimental treatment? And another thing about that money too, a lot of it's used for prize money. One of the allocations, or part of the allocation a couple of years back, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm open to correction, went to prize money. It was a €2 million prize, came out of this €76 million of taxpayers' money. Guess who won that prize? Because their horse won in a competition. O'Leary from Ryanair. Over €2 million of taxpayers' money, prize money from similar to this €76 million. It went into his pocket, which is remarkable, isn't it? Did you know that your money, which was allocated from the Department of Agriculture to horse racing, 2 million of that a couple of years back went into the pocket of Michael O'Leary because his horse won a race? It's astonishing, isn't it? But that's there you go. It's 95 million for horse and greyhound racing in total. As I say, maybe it's really important to the Irish economy, maybe further down south, but that's an awful lot of that's quite a bit of cancer treatment which won't be funded through the health budget. On to the Daily Mail now, and used car prices are continuing to soar, but they're not now rising at, they are now rising at their slowest rate since the start of the pandemic. Price rises have slowed as the supply of cars has been healthier in the past year and has been growing by an average of 5.4% over the past 9 months. This according to DunDeal. The report from the second-hand car website outlines that a 2007 Audi A4 cost €2,818 in September last year, but rose to over €3,023 this year. The difficulties with importing cars from Britain because of duty charges from Brexit has meant deliveries are switching to source right-hand drive cars from other countries, such as Japan. The share of imports from Britain has slumped from more than 95% in 2018 to less than 27% now. Wow, that's quite a drop. I never realised it was quite as high, but by the time you pay all the charges bringing them over, the money is... the profit is not necessarily there. The Irish Farmers Journal, Budget 2024, full coverage there. Their headline, €60 million extra funding for acres and organics, €200 suckler. Government maintains that cow payment, €8 per ewe extra payment for sheep farmers, land leasing reliefs. New higher funding for slurry storage, 8 million fund for tillage farmers, €5,000 stock relief boost. Budget 2024 provided a boost to sheep farmers with a new €8 ewe payment to bring the sheep improvement scheme payments to €20 per ewe. And you can read more about that in a packed Farmers Journal there. Internationally, obviously, the big story continues to be the crisis in the Middle East. Gaza was plunged into darkness as Israel yesterday stepped up its blitz of the besieged coastal strip. Waves of airstrikes destroyed high-rise buildings as the Jewish state prepared to launch a troops offensive. The lights went out as Gaza's sole power plant ran out of fuel, while water and food supplies were either cut off or running low. The collapse of the electricity grid left the 148 square mile strip on its knees. The Gaza Strip is tiny. 2.2 million people live there. The majority of them survive on international aid, I think about 75%. So you've got 2.2 million people in a landmass much smaller than County Donegal, and they have no gas, they have no water, they've got no electricity. Now, of course, the Gaza Strip is run by Hamas, but obviously the overwhelming majority of people in there are civilian population. And they are literally being starved out of it. It's against pretty much most. It's against the rules of war. Although Israel has declared a war, this is not compliant with the rules of engagement. The entire population is being punished. And then I read on that platform X, Twitter, that Elon Musk is yesterday announced, just as the power ran out in Gaza, he announced that all of Israel will have free access to the Tesla charges. He's a big player in the electric car market, as most of you would know. So as the power ran out in Gaza, he was announcing on his platform that Israelis would be able to charge their cars for free at his charging points. It just shows the difference in life, doesn't it? We'll be speaking about that a little later on. The Irish Daily Star, the Irish-Israeli citizen missing since Hamas attacked a music festival in Israel at the weekend has been confirmed dead, her family revealed. Kim Damptey, 22, had not been seen since the event in the south of the country near the border with the Gaza Strip. In a statement, her aunt, Pat Cooper, a sister of Kim's leash-born mother, Jennifer, said, "With heartfelt sorrow, the Cooper family announced the death of their beloved niece, Kim Damptey." And you can only just imagine the terror that must have been going through those people as they were being mowed down by gunfire. Shocking stuff, really, really is. On to the Irish Daily Mirror. Irish people have more difficulty in accessing mental health services than any of the EU's other member states, a major survey revealed. Research by the European Commission also revealed we have the third highest level of experiencing an emotional or psychological problem in previous 12 months. It shows Ireland has the highest proportion of citizens claiming that either they or a family member had encountered one or more issues accessing mental health services. The Eurobarometer poll revealed 44% of Irish people had trouble in receiving treatment for a mental health issue compared to the EU average of just 25%. So it's 1 in 4 across the EU. For us, it's almost 1 in 2. Almost 75% of Irish citizens who encountered an issue in accessing mental health services said they faced long waiting lists or delays before a diagnosis or treatment. And there is another area that requires massive spending, and and I know there was funding announced for it and so on and so forth, and I get that and I hear the words, but something is clearly amiss. We have an awful situation in this country in terms of mental health. In our region here, we're losing far too many people to suicide. That is just an absolute fact. Families devastated. Right across the county, right across the region, right across the country as well. And then you read stories saying that we are 44% of us seeking help have a greater difficulty in doing so. In Europe, it's 25% of people. 25% is way too much. We'd be crying about that. But here it's almost 1 in 2. And people need the help. And when they come forward for help, they need to be able to access all the help that they need. Yes, there is plenty of services there for people. If you feel you need to speak to someone, Samaritans, Pieta, they're there. Someone will answer the phone and what have you. But in terms of care, long-term care evaluation, too many of us are not getting the treatment that we need. And it's the families, it's the individuals themselves, it's their families, it's their children, their partners, the wider community that are faced with this devastation that we really can't. You don't talk about it as such because it's so sensitive. And is there ever a right time? Because it seems there's always a family that's dealing with this awful situation. But we're going to have to figure something out one way or other. What we do, I don't know. Open to collaborations, open to suggestions as to what we can do on this platform to help. 086 60 25,000 is our WhatsApp and text number for all your contacts, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the 2022 C-Store National Off-Licence of the Year.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Get more, pay even less. Download the Lidl Plus app now. Tap to activate your coupons and cut costs with exclusive super savers, like 44% off Gala apples, now 99¢, and Board B approved chicken breast fillets were $7.35, now $5.79. Just scan those Lidl Plus coupons at the till. Go on, get more, pay even less. Go full Lidl today.
We go through a lot to connect with our family. That's why Vodafone Red Family now rewards you with a minimum of €20 off every month when you add broadband to your plan. So moments like this.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are more bearable. Search Vodafone Red Family or go in store. Vodafone. Together we can.
Offer subject to being a 3rd to 6th connection joining a Red Family account on a Bill Pay Mobile or Vodafone Home Broadband plan. For full terms, see vodafone.ie/Red Family.
An emotion stirred. An idea accelerated. That's progress you can feel. And the very definition of the Audi 241 range. From the sporty, iconic Audi A4 and the all-electric Audi Q4 e-tron to the pioneering Audi Q8 e-tron, offering greater range than you can even imagine. Test drive the Audi 241 range at an Audi dealer near you today.
Enter the Virgin Media Playhouse and unleash our best offers, like 500 meg superfast reliable broadband for just €39 a month for 12 months with no activation fee. Offer extended, must end 18th of October. Get it while you can in-store or at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media, it's playtime.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie. Subject to location and availability. New customers only. 12-month contract. €70 a month thereafter. Ends October 18th, 2023.
Evolve Clothing are celebrating their 15th birthday this weekend. Big birthday discounts on all weekend. Starts tomorrow. Online at evolveclothing.com and in-store at Letterkenny Retail Park.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
Well, the time now is 23 minutes past 9, and very regularly on this programme we are contacted by people or their parents or guardians upset at delays in their young people, and not just young people, getting on the road legally. Learner drivers are facing huge waits, and there is an estimator which really is almost gaslighting, because it tells you a date that you're going to be invited to apply for your test, but you keep checking it and eventually you'll note that the date keeps slipping. So something really needs to be done. I think we'd all agree, as does Fianna Fáil Councillor Micheál Naughton, who's been raising this issue. Good morning to you, Councillor. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to your listeners.
So what's your what have you been saying about this, Micheál?
Yes, Greg, you're right. I mean, basically, I've been contacted, and I'm sure other local representatives have been contacted also. Basically, there's a huge waiting list in Donegal at the moment. Basically, I'm being contacted by parents and young people that waiting up to 8 months to get a test and that. And we all know, basically, that Donegal is a rural county. We don't have the same infrastructure, and we don't have the same trains and that. So there's a serious issue here for young people, especially for young people going to college. And, you hear basically the shortage of houses and basically the price of accommodation in the likes of Letterkenny, in Sligo, and also in Derry. And a lot of these people that are applying for their tests want to drive to college and drive home. So basically it's putting a lot of pressure on families at the moment. And basically I called at our MD meeting that we'd write to the Minister, and if we have to get extra instructors up here in Donegal to get the backlog cleared, that's what I'm calling for, because definitely it's a matter of urgency at this stage, because if it goes on and longer, you go into next year, you're going to be people waiting over a year. That's unacceptable. Even 8 months at the moment, that's totally unacceptable for young people at this day and age, and especially for Donegal. That is a rural county.
And you mentioned public transport. Let's give a South Donegal example. Let's say someone living in Ballintra was lucky enough to secure a job at Abbott in Donegal Town, a brilliant employer, great prospects for them there. They've no way in and out unless they have a family member that will drive them in and out. They're waiting on a test. The local link is there, but it wouldn't get them in and out of work on time. There's no other real alternative for them. That's like 5 kilometres away. That's not, say, they lived halfway up the Pettigo Road. Do you know what I mean, Micheál? Like that would be, it's impossible. It would be impossible, or is impossible, unless they have someone driving them to and from work, for young people to take up good jobs that are available there.
Totally, Greg. I agree. As you say, Ballintra is nearly on the thoroughfare, but yet basically the connectivity with Donegal Town wouldn't be there. And if you have to go to Pettigo or even Glencolin, Killer or Kilcara, that places like that, people need transport. Unfortunately, I need their car. That, and unfortunately, basically, there's a lot of young people and there's a lot of apprenticeships going at the moment, and there's a huge amount of work in and around Killybegs as well. And a lot of people are going in there getting trades and learning the trade. And these young people definitely want a car to get in and out of these places. Now, even alone Killybegs, even you rightly said, Donegal Town. Because, if you're going to work, you're dependent on a family member. And, we all know now, basically, the mums and dads are working as well, and they're probably gone earlier and that. So basically, it's putting a lot of pressure on families trying to get someone to bring them in or take them home and that. And that's a serious issue. But also, with the big one I've been getting to, Greg, is basically it's people going to college and trying to get accommodation and want to travel home.
No, I get you. But it's just even the impacts on the economy in the education sector, or even when people start to work. Like, I've heard stories, and I'm sure they're true, where there's maybe 1 or 2 people conducting tests, and one of them goes on holidays and the other is on sick, for an example, and there's no tests for 2 weeks, and it pushes everything back 2 weeks. And we don't know how much cold weather we're going to have, how much frost we're going to have. There's no tests often when those conditions prevail through the winter. So even someone now saying that they might get a called for a test at the start of July next year, there's no actual guarantee at all that's when they'll actually be invited to sit their test. It's open-ended, so no one can make any plans. It's crazy.
You're 100% correct here, Greg, because definitely this is the issue that I was making. And I even called at our MD meeting that basically, if tests had to happen on a Saturday and Sunday, to get the backlog done, well, then we should be looking at that as well. You're 100% right here, and this is the problem, that basically someone goes off, test doesn't happen, then, if we even continue it every day, we get to the backlog, but unfortunately that's not happening. They might happen this week, then they're cancelled next week, and basically they're adding to the backlog. So basically, this is a serious issue. And then basically with GDPR, also local representatives, when we ring basically the training centre, we have to have this person beside us, and that's impossible because basically these people are working and that, so they won't give us no information on it as well. So basically there's a serious issue here with it. People are basically are standing behind covers, not taking calls from us, the local representatives, because basically we're under pressure to make sure that these people get a test and try to push it on, and whatever basically remedy has to come up with, or whatever solution has to be done, well then that has to be looked at. Because definitely here in Donegal, as I said, we're a rural county and we need to basically get this backlog done as soon as possible.
What do you think? Do you think there will be any action on this?
Well, definitely, I'm hoping that there is, and I will keep continuing on, and I also will be talking to I mean, I put in a call yesterday to Jack Chambers' office, and I went for Jack to come back to me to highlight this as well, the Minister, because basically this is a serious issue for the young people here in Donegal. As I say, basically, we don't have the train service, we don't have the darts here. I mean, even all we're dependent on is buses, but I mean, even at that, you don't get buses that go at the same time for everybody in all parts of the county, and it's a serious issue with that, because basically, maybe they might get a bus, but they have to be up there at 7 o'clock. They're up in Sligo maybe at 8. The college doesn't start till about 9:30, and that then basically, they could finish at 4 o'clock. They have to wait till 6 maybe to get late back down again, and and it's unacceptable for that. Young people have to wait around that, and if we get people out there and get instructors in there, because there is a lot of people that have retired and they're short instructors, whether like they worked in the guards and worked in civil, that can be trained up and get these basically done. A lot of driving testers out there as well that could go in and basically work part-time to get these tests done, because the backlog at the moment is totally unacceptable.
Yeah, and also there must be questions asked as to the allocation of new testers. I mean, new testers were hired. I think it was the gentleman you mentioned earlier, Jack Chambers, the Minister, he announced in April there were 75 new testers and said they required 2 months training, right? So we're well past that now. I mean, are we getting any of these new testers into the Northwest or into Donegal more specifically, I wonder?
Well, exactly, Jack, and this is the question that we're asking here. I mean, and if not, we definitely want them in here, and definitely want extra ones in here for the time being to get the backlog done. That's what I'm requesting, that we get extra driving instructors into Donegal to clear up the backlog, and then basically, that we keep a steady flow of instructors here in the county, because basically, it's as I say, I keep saying this, it's a rural county, and we're dependent more on cars in this county than any other county in Ireland.
All right, well, maybe you might give us an update if you get a response from Minister Chambers, because there's an awful lot of people listening would be very interested in that. But for now, thank you very much indeed. That's Fianna Fáil Councillor Micheál Naughton there, 086 60 25,000. My girlfriend has been on a waiting list now for a driving test for over a year. She has started college and has no other choice but to drive. Do guards expect people not to take the risk? It's ridiculous we have to wait this long. And, I mean, no one could condone that, obviously, because it's illegal activity, and the penalties are quite harsh. You could, I think it's 5 points, is it, for driving? Your car can be seized and what have you, and that's going to affect your insurance. But this person says that she's at college and feels that she has no other choice, waiting over a year for a test.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Easy Living Furniture's annual Oktoberfest sale is now on. Absolutely everything reduced, including sofas, dining, beds and mattresses. Save up to 60% on a huge range of products that are in stock and ready for delivery. And with 0% interest-free finance available with no deposit, the decision is easy. Oktoberfest sale now on in Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park.
It's the home of the vegan butchers, the artisan bakers, the freestyle lyricists, and the trouser suit striders. It's the urban jungle, where the everyday meets the latest wave. And you could see it all from your Seat SUV. From the sharp lines and smart style of the Arona to the bold and beautiful Ateca. And if size is your thing, the Tarraco comes as a 7-seater. See what's in store at seat.ie for our latest offers. And visit DMG Motors, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Because your new Seat is just waiting to see what's next.
Is few crín a chór. Má churn tú iad de hala ferme mar chud den chlár foríseach den nua. De tá luach séhir má áil inyo agus na blianta atá le techt. Johi tú takeíocht airgadis, luach séhir leanúnach agus bet tú an behir de comport agus fisa gut gúil sro slán ancam an dit. Ní mór de éirin an oríseach de védó chun dul in nec leis an ahrú éráide chun an bhíheag súlacht den airtú agus chun árnaimhnacha a jausú. Mar sin is fiú dit agus dóin goléir a bheithead cor. Tá ólas faoin rán ar fad ag gov.ie/forestry. Tionscanamh de chud rialtas na hÉireann.
Hey there, folks of Letterkenny. Mark your calendars. It's the Letterkenny Motor Show, happening on Saturday the 14th of October on a pedestrianised Lower Main Street. Come and explore the latest car models, enjoy fun activities for the whole family, and discover incredible deals that will get you on the road in style. It's the perfect family day out, and we can't wait to see you there.
The Letterkenny Motor Show is brought to you by the local franchised motor dealers and proudly supported by First Citizen Finance, Letterkenny Chamber, Donegal County Council, the Society of Irish Motor Industry, and FBD Insurance.
Visit letterkennymotorshow.ie for more details.
All right, we are speaking now to Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly. Good morning, Donald. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to all your listeners.
It's good to have you with us. You've raised the issue of the need for car parking facilities at the Bridle Path entrance to Glenveigh National Park. Describe the current setup for us, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's right, Greg. As a motion moved on Tuesday at our municipal district meeting. Well, anybody, I suppose a lot of people familiar with the area I'm talking about. It's on the Lough Barra side or Glendone side of the Bridle Path there that leads down into Glenveigh Castle. And I suppose at the minute, Greg, there's only really realistically room for 2, maybe 3 cars max there. And, this is a fantastic scenic area, a fantastic walk right down into Glenveigh Castle. And at the minute, that has become a very busy road from Glendone right down into Lough Barra, Duherry, and on to Dunlow. And it also sees, I suppose, kind of heavier vehicles as years go on as well. And, the situation at the minute there, Greg, is that the road is very narrow. Cars, when tourists or visitors is coming to do the Bridle Path, they're having to actually park along the roadside. And we have seen in some cases that that it has actually blocked the road where bigger vehicles couldn't get through. So that's the reason that I have moved the motion this week and asking that now Donegal County Council engage with the OPW to construct a new car park in off the road there at the Bridle Path where tourists or visitors or even locals can come, can park their car in a safe environment and go and do their walk, because, it is a fantastic walk, as I say, and it does take a fair bit of time. So what I'm looking for is when people can park there, they can park safely and they can go and enjoy the walk without having to rush back or worry, is their vehicle on the road or is it blocking somebody else, etc.,
Yeah, and just for those who may not know, Donald, why would someone not use the car parks that are available at Glenveigh?
Well, you see, Greg, you can use the car park that's available in Glenveigh, and there is a bus that takes you right out by Glendone and right out to Goibara or Lough Barra there for the Bridle Path. That is an option. But, people I have been talking to, the biggest majority of them they actually want to park on the Lough Barra side of the Bridle Path and walk right down into Glenveigh Castle and do the walk back again. And at the minute, that option, it's not really feasible because there's no car parking available. And people's worried that, I done the walk myself, my wife and her son in the summertime, and it's a fantastic walk, but it does take a few hours to go down and come back in again, I myself was worrying, is my car parked okay, for this length of time? Am I blocking anyone? I'm not blocking the road. So I think it's important, when we have such a walk on our doorstep, Greg, it's important that we publicise it and promote it in the best way possible. And I think if we construct the car park there, it will entice more people to come and park and do the walk, because I have been made aware too of situations where tourists have came, they've realised there's no parking there, and they've actually turned and gone away, and that's something I don't want to see happening,
What's the situation in terms of land? Would land have to be acquired? Would they have to work with, national parks, or realistically, who owns the property? Is there council land available there? And how many car parking spaces do you think could realistically be provided?
Yeah, well, Greg, I suppose to start with, Donegal County Council has recognised that the parking is an issue at this location. And, the area is designated as a special area of conservation. And any significant development would require a nature impact statement at a minimum, or outside funding. The OPW and Glen Bay National Park as kind of owners of the land there. But there's one thing, Greg, that I can point out there. Back maybe, say, 500-600 yards down the road, there's actually what was at one time a chip bed there where stone and that was left, And I don't see any reason why we couldn't expand that and turn it into a car park. If it could only facilitate 10, 15 cars, I think it would be a fantastic job, And as I say, would entice more people to come to the area. But listen, Donegal County Council has recognised my motion. They have took it on board. And I've asked that they seek every avenue possible to try and secure funding. So, listen, they did come back to me on the day, did state that they are willing to engage with the OPW and any other avenue that needs to be explored to try to seek funding to have a car park constructed. So, listen, it's positive, Greg, and something I will be keeping an eye on because I feel especially here in Donegal, it's a fantastic county we have here with a wide Atlantic Way and with so much to offer, but it's important that we have the proper facilities such as parking in place for everyone to explore and enjoy it in the best way possible.
All right, listen, thanks for your time this morning. That's Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly there, 086 60 25,000 if you agree or, for that matter, disagree. Greg, the Portaloos in the town park in Letterkenny are not good enough. Only for duns and pennies. There are no others. Small children and the elderly should not have to use the Portaloos, which typically smell very bad. I don't get it. Well, there are plans afoot, if I'm not mistaken, for the provision of public toilets there. A caller says only one councillor turned up to the defective block meeting in the Station House Hotel, and that was Councillor Michael McBride. It was so disappointing that our representatives weren't in attendance. I'd like to thank him for his comments on the night. A few more here. We could all be in business with all the subsidies they're getting. If a business isn't sustainable, it should be allowed to fail, says the listener. Another plumber's rate per hour is €60. Bring in more people into the country who have a trade and stop this price gouging. I think people... we've had a couple of comments about plumbers and electricians in the past about how much they charge. It's very highly skilled and regulated often part of the economy here. And you can pay a tenner for someone to come in. I'm sure there'll be people who do that for you. But what kind of a job would they do for you? And how would they stand over that? Greg, it's only hands out to keep people quiet. This is more reaction from the budget and suppress people with a mess the country's in. The government destroyed this lovely little country, they say. Others obviously would disagree with those comments. We were talking to Packy Boney yesterday. Sorry for saying so much. Because what happens is I glance down to make sure that, or to try and make sure that the comments are on the same issue. But sometimes I need that little to make sure I know what I'm talking about here. Casement Park will host Euro 2028 games. How things have changed. It's a great pity that some politicians in the north are still unwilling to share power and indeed block any spending on that development. I was stopped by customs at a checkpoint on the Newtown Road. I was coming from Derry. I had 4 drums of heating oil in the car. They took it off me. I thought I was allowed to take it out for my own use, but was told I'm not allowed to bring any oil out. Wow, this is like a flashback to my childhood. So does that mean the same for other fuels? Coal, for an example. What about petrol? Is that this caller, they had that experience. They were stopped by customs at a checkpoint on the Newton Road. They were coming in from Derry. They had 4 drums of heating oil in the car and it was taken from them. Has anyone else experienced anything like that? Please let us know. 08660 25,000. A caller says a new road was made into the Polestar roundabout. Where can an ambulance get through in an emergency to get to hospital? Who was the brains behind that? There is some concern, and I've heard it before, if you're talking about the concrete centre margin there, that it could hinder emergency vehicle access. I'm not really quite sure. I think there is still quite a bit of space for cars to pull, but we'll have to wait and see. If anyone is in the ambulance trade, by the way, and I know you listen to us, give us an off-the-record text if you have any concerns about access to the hospital with the new 4 lanes layout. This listener's grandchild is severely autistic. The family has had no help whatsoever from CDNT. She's not had speech therapy or physiotherapy since before COVID. The only help she has received is either at home or at school, where the staff are brilliant. The child is non-verbal and does not eat without assistance. When her mother applied through the social welfare for support about 6 years ago, the application was nothing short of a book. And now, 6 years on, she's received another form to fill out, which they're saying is a review that needs to be completed. Why do they need to review the needs of an autistic child, needlessly putting the family through more stress? For what purpose, they ask. So being asked to jump through hoops and form filling, and in 6 years, no CDNT services for that child. Will the Irish government be contributing to the redevelopment of Casement Park for Euro 28? It could become a white elephant in West Belfast, only drawing a crowd on Ulster final day. Not very accessible to Donegal fans. And when the Wolf Tones play at Féile na Phobal, why not build a stadium for all sports and for it to be used for concerts for all communities? A few people actually have come in with that comment as well. A couple on health here now. My mother was 71 and was a kidney transplant patient. She waited 8 hours in the Letterkenny Hospital's emergency department. When she did get a bed, she had a stroke in her sleep. I always associated that stroke with her wait in ED and waiting to be seen. She died 4 months later, and I accept nothing will bring her back, but it's so sad nothing is changing. If anything, the department is getting worse, and I'm so sorry for your loss. And any loss is difficult, but then when there are things that you think that may have contributed to it, whether they did or not, it can make the grieving process much more difficult. Caller says, again, ED will continue to be under pressure until CHO1 address the issue of community services to provide a pathway out of hospital. Years ago, a GP used to run a Saturday morning clinic. As Paddy Rooney said on the programme this week, we have well-trained and experienced GPs who could be utilising their skills. Why don't they work in collaboration with after hours? Again, Letterkenny has 239 acute beds, adult acute beds, with over 150 people accessing ED every day. Don't the maths, so do the maths. It doesn't add up. Where was the provision in the budget? Well, we talked about the provision for health in the budget, and it's not where it needs to be, I think.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Autumn is here, and so are the new arrivals at Green Shoes. Shop in store or online now from top brands like Doc Martens, Kate Appleby, Tommy Bow and Riker. Also New Balance, Wonders, Echo and many more. Shop LK and one for all gift cards accepted in store. Visit Green Shoes and discover the perfect footwear to complement your style. Green Shoes at Market Square, Letterkenny Shopping Centre, Fulcara and online at greenshoes.com.
The Donegal Texel Breeders will hold a sale of 45 rams in Rafo Livestock Mart this Friday, 13th of October at 7 p.m. Online bidding via the Mart Bids app. That's this Friday at Rafo Mart.
Do you rely on kerosene to heat your business? You could be eligible for one-off payment through the government's new Business User Support Scheme for kerosene. This scheme is open from now until the 31st of October. Find out more on enterprise.gov.ie, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
Transform your home with a visit to McGinley's Furniture, Letterkenny, located at the Portlink Business Park just off the Port Road. You'll find a huge selection of top-quality suites, beds and mattresses, also slide robes and custom-made dining and occasional furniture, with prices to suit every budget. See the great choice for yourself at our showroom, McGinley's Furniture, Portlink Business Park, Port Road, Letterkenny. Click mcginleysfurniture.com.
Ireland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport, where you can now fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect via Heathrow to over 80 destinations worldwide, including Boston, New York and more.
Okay, let's grab that weather forecast for you, which I don't have in front of me, but I will have it very, very shortly, I can tell you that. I don't think we're going to see a ton of rain over the next few days, but anyway, largely dry today, Thursday, with a mix of cloud and sunny spells. After a chilly start, though a few spots of drizzle may occur near the coast, cloud will thicken this afternoon. Highest temperatures of 11 to 13 degrees, light southwesterly or variable breezes, fresh along the coast. On Facebook, Sean says, Greg, any idea on the prices for completing the new ATV training courses in Ireland? Thanks. Well, I can't actually see the prices right in front of me. I have seen some prices ranging between €200 and €500, but leave it with me. I will find that out for you. Now, Conor Pope is a consumer affairs correspondent from the Irish Times and he's with us on the programme now. Good morning to you, Conor.
Hi, how are you getting on?
Good to have you on. Right, okay. Now, tell us the new TV show that you're involved with and I suppose how Donegal people in the broader Northwest can get involved.
Yeah, well, listen, the key thing in what you just said is how your listeners can get involved. So I want to stress that whatever I say here, I'm kind of relying on the participation of your listeners. So basically, the programme is going to be broadcast on RTE in the new year. And it's going to feature Owen McGee, the financial planner and TV presenter, as the taskmaster. And he's going to give myself, Amy Malloy, social affairs correspondent with the Irish Independent, and Siobhan Maguire, a consumer journalist and podcaster, also with the Irish Independent, the job of fixing consumers' problems. And there are so many of them out there, as you well know. So these problems could be anything from being given the runaround by a bank or a telecoms company, or having a broadband provider let you down, or have an airline hold on to your money unfairly or unjustly, or anything else out there that is causing a consumer concern. And the idea behind the programme is Owen will give us these problems and we will go off and fight the corner of the people who have those problems and hopefully get a resolution. So that's the essence of the programme. And I think it's a reflection of what so many consumers need. Because I've been doing this in the Irish Times effectively for donkey's years. And what really dispirits me is that no matter how often we highlight failings of companies, those failings persist. And they're absolutely pervasive across our society. So it's like companies are putting obstacles in the way. They want to make it difficult for us to get resolution. They want to stop us getting the redress that we deserve. And sometimes you just have to stand up and say, I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore, and fight back. And that's what we want to do on behalf of your listeners.
Yeah, but as you say, sometimes the complaint mechanisms are designed to frustrate to the point where you just say stuff it and give up. You know yourself, if you're looking to engage or buy a product, the phone's answered straight away. You're looking for a little bit of customer support. Often you have to press a button a million times before you're told you have to email or something along those lines. It's kind of, I mean, it's good to hear some of the worst offenders being called out on this, because as I say, it is naturally designed to be to frustrate, and then the human condition is we tend to give up.
That's exactly right, and I'm glad you say that, because I think that's built into the business models of too many of these companies, that they say, listen, we just want new business. Once we get that business in, we don't really care that much about our existing customers. And it used to be like this. It used to be different. You used to have this notion of customer care where businesses would pride themselves on looking after the existing customers. And what baffles me is that it actually costs more to bring in new customers than it does to retain your existing customers. So if the companies were just better at looking after the people they have, there wouldn't be this churn. There wouldn't be this constant changing of or switching, although it's not as constant as it should be. But the bottom line is that businesses make it difficult. And as you say, every time you call, they say, "Oh yeah, our phone lines are very busy." It's like, well, then employ more staff, or empower your staff to do a better job at fixing problems in the first instance.
But
No, I
Conor,
don't
just
have
in relation to that, I mean, maybe we're getting better at it now, but, you know, we're incredibly brand loyal in this country. I mean, you'll have people that's with the same broadband provider and they'll almost proudly tell you for 20 years or 25 years, yet, you know, they could save a fortune if they switched, or it could be the same with car insurance or house insurance or whatever it might be. And I think maybe we are getting a little bit better at switching, thanks to the likes of yourself and others who promote that type of stuff. But if more of us voted with our feet, or maybe the markets are too small that we end up going back to the same people, but if more of us voted with our feet when we weren't happy with our customer service, then maybe they would all have to up their game somewhat.
100%. But the difficulty is that sometimes it can be really hard to make those changes. Sometimes there's a reason why less than 1% of the market, generally speaking, will change bank every year. And it's not because all of the banks are doing a sterling job. It's because people perceive it as being really complicated to change your bank. There's a reason why more than 70% of the market never change their health insurance. It's because there's more than 300 different health insurance policies on the market, and people are put off and frightened by the complexities of the market. And so an awful lot of the time, people, the way the businesses are structured are working against the best interests of consumers. But the answer to that is to be more proactive and to be more empowered and say, listen, I'm not going to accept this. But there was an example of, it's going back 10 or 12 or 15 years now, when Ulster Bank, you remember this, Ulster Bank effectively for weeks stopped functioning as a bank. There was huge problems with the bank. People couldn't get their money lodged. It was a massive issue, and and it was all stemming from the bank's UK parent company. So it was a computer glitch that just went on and on and on. Now you would have thought after that scenario that there would have been an awful lot of people saying, right, I'm going to switch my banking to another bank. Very few people did, and that's because of that sense of passivity that exists out there, that people are just reluctant to do it. But the essence of it is that too often people are let down by businesses, and too often people are let down by service providers, and that's what this program wants to do. It wants to say, okay, if you're going to let down your customers, we're going to highlight your failings on the television, we're going to get redress for your customers, the ones that are contacting us, and we're going to show other people that the frustrations that they're experiencing are not unique and they're not alone, and that something needs to be done. And I don't want to be too optimistic, but I would like to think that a program like this might be able to make some minor changes to how businesses do business. And if they say, oh God, we don't want to feature on this program, so maybe we'll up our game just a little bit. Now, maybe that's wishful thinking on my part, but I think it would be good if that would be the outcome of the program. But as I said at the outset, we do need your listeners' help, because we do need the stories that your listeners have to tell. And I know that almost every single person listening to this program now will have a story to tell of how they've been let down. And some of those stories will be ongoing, and some of the people who are listening now will be mired in dealing with a big company, or indeed a small company, because it's not just about the big service providers. It can be about a builder, it can be about a bloke who installs Windows, it can be about a scam that you've fallen victim to. Anything that you feel that we could help with, we'd like to hear your story.
All right, okay. So that covers pretty much anything consumer related. So people can email consumer@indiepix.ie. That's INDIE Pix, PICS.ie, with your story, and obviously include your contact details. And Conor, listen, thanks for that. When do you know? Obviously, the turnaround on something like this is probably going to be pretty quick. When are you hoping to, or do we know when it's going to air?
Well, it'll probably be in the new year, so okay. in the early spring kind of time. That's when we'll be looking to broadcast it.
All right, thanks very much indeed, Conor. Conor Pope, the consumer affairs correspondent from the Irish Times. He's working with Anne Malloy and Siobhan Maguire. If you have a feeling you've been ripped off, scammed, and you feel you've nowhere else to turn, consumer@indiepix.ie. And we know from the work we do in this show, there are an awful lot of people out there, and unfortunately it takes going to the media often to get a resolution. A caller says, Greg, how often should we be switching? Well, my internet as soon as the contract is about to come to an end, my phone, wherever, anytime you're about to come towards the end of your contract, start looking around your insurance, price around your insurance every single year, price around your broadband. If you keep switching broadband, effectively, you will eternally pay €35 because those are the offers out there. So switch around, keep switching. A lot of people then go from 35 to 60 and they go, oh, well, stuff it, it works quite well and I don't want to post the modem back. Do so. I'm sure you'd prefer to have that €25 in your pocket every single month, and often even just threatening to switch will in itself save you money. Some of the big providers that you can speak to on the phone, like Sky, for an example, they don't want you to leave. If your contract is coming up, ring them, say you're about to leave. You'll be surprised. Often you can save some money. All right, back with more after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Enjoy a great weekend of dancing with Derek Ryan in the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny on Friday 13th and Saturday 14th of October. Special guests Sinead Black and Jim Devine on Friday night with Gavin Gribben and Johnny Brady. On Saturday, pay at the door. Admission only €20. Friday and Saturday night, doors open from 8:30 p.m. That's the Derek Ryan weekend at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny.
Creative Landscaping Works are the Donegal distributors of millboard cladding and decking. Thanks to its unique polymer resin construction, this decking and cladding doesn't deteriorate like natural wood and won't be beaten for durability. It also has superb slip resistance, even when wet, and every board is produced using recycled materials. Live life outside with millboard at Creative Landscaping Works, Lisnenin and Letterkenny. See creativelandscapingworks.com.
Ocean Tiles and Bathrooms, Pennyburn Industrial Estate, Derry. Massive stock clearance sale on tiles, vanity units, toilets, showers, taps, mirrors, radiators, shower panels, accessories and much more. Sale starts Monday 9th and ends Saturday 21st of October at Ocean Tiles and Bathrooms, Pennyburn Industrial Estate, Derry.
Caróí the vaccine flu agus COVID-19 leat the chóras in mínachta a nartónaig tinnas chromcúiseach. Multar vaccine flu ditch má tá tú 65 nó ní sinne. Multar chandáileach fóver COVID-19 ditch má tá tú 5 nó ní sinne. Multar an dá vaccine dibra chóram sláinte agus déan duine tá gumpar cluine nó bhfuil ruch sláinte fetéarmach orthú. Leabhar le Dr. Tiley nó cógasúra an fartach nó chun níos mó ólas áil fécar hsi.ie. On HSE.
Hey there, folks of Letterkenny. Mark your calendars. It's the Letterkenny Motor Show, happening on Saturday the 14th of October on a pedestrianised Lower Main Street. Come and explore the latest car models, enjoy fun activities for the whole family, and discover incredible deals that will get you on the road in style. It's the perfect family day out, and we can't wait to see you there.
The Letterkenny Motor Show is brought to you by the local franchised motor dealers and proudly supported by First Citizen Finance, Letterkenny Chamber, Donegal County Council, the Society of Irish Motor Industry and FBD Insurance.
Visit letterkennymotorshow.ie for more details.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. It's emerged that the government still hasn't fully approved a Donegal County Council programme to address the impact of defective blocks on its own social housing stock. The programme was submitted by the council 2 years ago this month. Members were told at a special council meeting that at least 20% of the council's houses are affected. With more, here's Donna Marie Doherty.
The council has a social housing stock of approximately 5,000 units, and this week's special meeting on housing was told that visual surveys showed that approximately 1,000 council-owned social homes show evidence of pattern cracking, which is consistent with defective concrete blocks. Officials warned it's likely that the final number will be considerably higher. In October 2021, the council made a comprehensive submission to the department seeking approval for the remediation of the council-owned damaged homes over a 4-year programme. The following February, the department sanctioned the appointment of a dedicated project team, but it hasn't yet approved the programme. In July of last year, the council submitted an approval request for a pilot project on 60 vacant social homes damaged by defective concrete blocks. However, approval has not been forthcoming to date. The council has begun preparatory work on assessing those houses, pending departmental approval.
Donegal County Council is being asked to help resolve issues regarding access on the beach at Port Salon. Damage to a pedestrian bridge means the only way to cross a stream and continue walking on the bridge is to go through the local golf club, and that's potentially dangerous as the route is close to the fairway leading to the second hole. Seconding a motion from Councillor Jimmy Kavanagh, Councillor Liam Blaney said the council put up that bridge 20 years ago, but no department is taking responsibility for it now. The council says it's working with the golf club in a bid to of the situation. Councillor Blaney says there's been plenty of talking. It's time for action.
The dialogue has been on this last number of years, Donald, and I think it's time that there was action now instead of dialogue. With enough dialogue done, it's a danger for the people walking. They have to go up on the second fairway and the Port Salon Golf Club to get round the stream to go back and walk the beach again. And it's unfair to the golf club that nobody seems to take responsibility for fixing the bridge that's there. At the end of the day, it was Donegal County Council that put the bridges there in the first place, and I think it's Donegal County Council, whatever section should be held, should have a responsibility for replacing them.
Permanent TSB has introduced a new feature on its app to help prevent fraud scams. PTSB Protect will alert customers if they get a text with a fraudulent link or block them from accessing suspicious websites on their phone. It'll scan users' text messages, whether they're running the app or not, but the bank has no access to info on the phone. Donegal Deputy Padraig McLaughlin has written to the Health Minister asking him to review a decision not to include Donegal Town as a location for a surgical hub. 40,000 inpatients are treated each year between Letterkenny University Hospital and Sligo University Hospital, and with Donegal Town almost halfway between the two, Deputy McLaughlin believes a hub there would take pressure off both facilities. However, he says, true to form, all the surgical hubs approved in the first wave are south of the Dublin-Galway line. He says once again the Northwest is being ignored, and that cannot be allowed to continue. Family farms are being put at risk by drug debts racked up by young farmers. An Irish Country Living investigation has found people in rural areas all over the country are buying cocaine on social media, leading to an increase in young farmers seeking help with addiction. Drug counsellors say those aged 18 to 30 are most affected. Katrina Morrissey is deputy editor with the Irish Farmers Journal. She says drug dealers are viewing the farming community as ATMs.
You know, the dealers see a farm and see money, and then ultimately have that person in debt, which leads to further problems, because once you're in debt, you're beholden to the dealer, and then you have the families when they do find out, are willing to try and obviously get their family member out of trouble. They need to clear the debt.
And RTE is exploring the possibility of selling off part of its Donnybrook campus to raise revenue. Director General Kevin Backhurst is among representatives of the broadcaster appearing before the Public Accounts Committee again this morning. With more, here's Andrew Louth.
Kevin Backhurst says a complete sale of RTE's site in Donnybrook, which had been suggested, is unlikely at this point. He'll tell the PAC that short-term cash reserves are solid, but will reiterate the plea for a reform of the public service broadcasting funding model. He'll add that RTE is managing finances carefully amid a fall in TV licence fee funding. Yesterday, the Media Minister Catherine Martin confirmed the state's new Economy and Recovery Authority, known as New Era, found a €21 million drop in licence fee payments this year, while a further €40 million loss is expected next year. RTE will appear before the Public Accounts Committee from 9:30 this morning. Andrew Louth, Leinster House.
And looking at the weather forecast, largely dry with a mix of cloud and sunny spells. Some spots of drizzle possible near the coast. Cloud will thicken this afternoon in top temperatures of 11 to 13 degrees Celsius. Light southwesterly or variable breezes. Fresh along the coast. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 11 o'clock. Regular updates, of course, on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Thursday morning, the 12th of October. The death has occurred of Frank Curran, Glencar Irish, Letterkenny, reposing at his late residence from 12 noon to 11 p.m. today, with rosary at 10 p.m. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, with burial afterwards in Conwell Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv, with family time please before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu of desired to Donegal Down Syndrome Association, care of Con MacDade Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Vera Kelly, née Gallagher, Tulnascreen, Church Hill, formerly of Drumnashammer, Church Hill. Requiem Mass in St Columba's Church, Glenswilly, at 1 o'clock this afternoon, with burial afterwards in the family plot in Temple Douglas Cemetery. The house is strictly private, please. The death has taken place of Margaret Devlin, Caroween Spinogue Burt. Funeral from her late residence this morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Angus's Church, Burt, followed by burial in the family plot in Burt Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. The death has taken place of Joe Call, number 1 Nixon's Corner, Derry. Funeral from his late residence this morning at 10:15, going to St Bathan's Church, St Johnson, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Foyle Hospice, care of any family member or Kelly's Funeral Directors, Oakfield, Rafo. The death has taken place of Paul Sweeney, Drumacanoe, Church Hill. Funeral Mass in St Columkille's Church, Glendowen, at 11 o'clock this morning, followed by burial in Garton Cemetery. The funeral can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Family time, please, before the funeral. The death has taken place of Winnie Winifred Boyle, née Breslin, Cornas, Kilrain, Glenties. Her remains are reposing at St Connell's Church, Glenties, with funeral mass this morning at 11 o'clock, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Strictly family flowers only, please. For more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Congratulations to our Super Value suppliers and Food Academy producers who won 94 awards at this year's Bloston Heron Awards. Like our Super Value Signature Taste Cashel Blue Cheese by Cashel Farmhouse Cheesemakers, winning gold, and our Food Academy producer Clonakilty Gluten-Free Kitchen also winning gold for their multi-grain loaf. Super Value, Ireland's #1 award-winning supermarket.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. A listener earlier, Sean, I think it was, asked how much are the ATV tests. Well, from what I can determine, €250 seems to be the cost of the test. So in other words, if you own an ATV and you want to operate it legally for work use on your property, if you're a farmer or what have you, it's a €250 charge for that training. Greg, why is there so little news reports from RTE and local stations about the blockage of water, electricity and food supplies to people of Palestine? Israel is committing crimes against humanity, and as usual, our government issues warnings to all media to keep quiet because of pressure from the EU and America. I have been following this story quite closely. I know President Biden has called on Israel to abide by the rules of war. The EU has, Ireland has condemned the collective blame strategy. I've seen it everywhere, to be honest with you. I hope you don't think I'm contradicting you. Obviously, from a local radio station perspective, we covered it in the newspapers this morning. We have a guest coming in with us very, very shortly. But, you know, to dedicate 3 hours of a show where we're focusing on the northwest of Ireland, we're not going to dedicate a ton of that, if you know what I'm saying, to international issues as important as they are, because there's international issues all over the world. So I've seen an awful lot of what you're talking about. And as I say, I referenced it this morning myself. But that doesn't mean that I'm saying you're wrong, if you know what I mean. I can only just be honest. In regards to the caller about customs taking fuel, it is illegal to transport fuel without ADR. A spill of kerosene could be detrimental to other road users. So this is a caller who was stopped at a customs checkpoint. Although customs, are they enforcing customs rules? Or are they enforcing transportation rules? Or maybe they both overlap. But a caller earlier was taking 3 containers of home heating oil from the north into the Republic. It was stopped by customs and it was taken from them. A few years back, people were given a full licence without taking any test. If you have been driving for a good many years and done your driving lessons, why don't they do the same now? It's possible. I think it's just with the I can't see that happening in modern society, particularly with the terrible carnage we've seen on our roads this year. But, you know, not particularly, but road safety's going in the wrong direction. An amnesty, which was going back some time now. I can't remember when it was precisely, but I can't see something similar to that happening again. The road from Dookery over Glendowen is a hidden gem and is a fabulous scenic route that I bring many friends on. What needs there is laybys the whole way, so traffic can pull in and pass. Was on the Isle of Mull in Scotland recently, and from the side of the island is a singular road and laybys, so two-way traffic can pull in and let incoming traffic pass. Regardless of revenue control, it's illegal, in my opinion, to carry oil in a vehicle other than a suitably made tanker. Okay. Now, I presume then that precludes the fuel tanks. I mean, if you go to your local service station and fill up with kerosene, what are you transporting that in? Are you saying that's illegal? And if it's illegal to transport kerosene in your vehicle, how is it then legal for it to be sold at pumps in the Republic? That's the one thing confuses me a little bit. Presumably, people aren't putting it into a metal tank or whatever it might be. So how, if it's illegal to transport home heating oil, regardless of being at cross-border, as that listener says, how then is it legal for it to be sold at the pumps, which you'll see quite a bit. As it relates to the car park calls from Councillor Kelly there at Glenveagh, caller says no need for a new car park, wasting more taxpayers' money. Again, best of a good car park 200 metres up the road where buses do turn and cars do park. Putting more car parking spaces at the bridle path will defeat the wild look of the area. The R254 road is not that busy and people can use the bus supplied by the park. A car park will only encourage joyriders and boy racers who do speed trials in the park. Yep, as I say, maybe obviously it's to suit a demand there. I would have just driven in. It's ridiculous that driving tests are cancelled if there is snow, and just for us too, generally. Surprise, surprise on that issue. Donegal forgotten again. Right, okay. I am going to take a break for the bingo numbers because it's jackpot day and I know a lot of you are keen to play. So good luck if you are playing. The numbers are just after this.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 12th of October, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €21,400 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S4. It's game number 41. The jackpot number is 69. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers. 31, 47, 83, 37, 24, 21, 74, 19, 69, and finally 26. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
An in rudatá rágad na de bhéitach rudí bioga chur asca de bhearláinte.
Is é?
Deacrachtaí cudalta.
Se.
No ma bhíam faoi bhrú agóní.
Se.
No imneach gomininic.
Tá buinte acu ilig le de bhearláinte.
Cén dói a bhfuil is a go éis seo ilig?
Brat níam im a dhé féin faoi mar is óldit.
Imní, brúseasta, ís le brí, gan a bheithan an colla, buinn siad seo ilig le de bhearláinte. Déan an ceangal agus bhaicúnamh ag yourmentalhealth.ie. Ó aimimeach na séirfíse sláinte.
The Cassidys here in Bundoran used to often wonder,
is this a good time to use the dishwasher?
when they signed up to ESB Networks' Is This a Good Time program, they learned that there's more renewable electricity available when it's windy out, which helps us all on our journey to a clean electric future.
Right, is everything good?
Go to esbnetworks.ie/time to sign up today. ESB Networks, energizing your everything.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. Now, we're joined in studio by Dr. Joseph O'Neill and Adrian McCarry, Letterkenny Palestine Committee member, Interfaith for Palestine at Letterkenny. Gentlemen, both of you, thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much, Greg.
I think we can all agree the scenes that we are witnessing from the Middle East are just unbelievable, aren't they? Absolutely shocking.
Shocking, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, terrible.
Before we talk really about the current events, can we have a little bit of history, Dr. O'Neill, as it relates to this parcel of land, you know, Palestine, the Gaza Strip, its relationship with the region?
Thank you very much. Yes, context is everything, and the historical context is extremely important. In 1948, 750,000 Palestinians were terrified out of their land by a number of massacres. In 1967, a further 300,000 Palestinians were terrified out of their land, again by a series of massacres. Any child who lives in Gaza has probably witnessed, who's the age of 12, has probably witnessed about 4 invasions by the Israelis. What is described, and unfortunately the word that is used in this context is genocide. And a well-known exiled Jewish Israeli academic, Ilan Pappé, has described this situation as a creeping genocide. Now, genocide is a systematic attempt to destroy a people, not necessarily massacring them all in total, but destroying their lives, destroying their daily freedoms, destroying their places of religious worship, destroying their ability to walk out in the street and go to the shops, destroying their educational system, and destroying the infrastructure. So that's the background. I think that was a very simple summary of what's happening, and what we have is not a conflict. It is actually an ongoing, creeping genocide of the Palestinian people.
And we have, particularly the Gaza Strip, a very small strip of land, intensely populated, 2.2 million people, the majority of which are reliant on aid. And obviously then are reliant on Israel for electricity, water and what have you. Pretty much they are in an open prison. I think most people would agree, because obviously if you can't move freely, that's, you know, I don't think anyone could dispute that description of it. But what is, as far as we know, Adrian, what is life been like over the last number of decades for people living in Palestine, the Gaza Strip?
Well, basically, as you described, there's been an open prison, effectively, 2.2 million people. And, you know, in the last 15 years, they've been sort of subject to, you know, just constant bombardment in a way. The structures that they rely on to live in have been decimated. It's difficult to get goods in and out. And, you know, it's just unthinkable, the sort of conditions that people are living in there, and particularly whenever half the population is under the age of 18, children. And it's just, yeah, unbearable in my opinion, really, you know.
And in terms of, well, we'll get to it. Maybe we'll get to some sort of a solution down the line. But in terms of the events, actually, before I want to get to the events as well, I'm sorry, I want to take this step by step, so as it's everything's given sort of equal conversation. Obviously, the latest escalation has been triggered, though it depends how far you want to go back, by the actions of Hamas. Now, Hamas doesn't enjoy full support either in Gaza or Palestine more generally. So do we have a sense of, from within there, everybody's suffering now at this point, what the general population's reaction has been? I think the support kind of on the Gaza Strip, I think full support with sort of maybe we support them. It's around about 65, 67%. So there's an awful lot of people that don't necessarily support Hamas. So can you talk to me about that, Dr. O'Neill?
Thank you. I think we need to have our facts right here. And of course, there is massive Israeli propaganda we're hearing through the airwaves. Hamas was the democratically elected government of Palestine. It is a popular government, and it is loved by the people. And it is fighting for the liberation of Palestine.
So you dispute sort of those internationally public statistics that Hamas's total support of the Palestinian people?
There are lies, damned lies and statistics. And I think what we don't hear, we only hear one side of the situation about what's happening to the Palestinians. And it's a very subtle, sophisticated propaganda system. And the elected government of Palestine, of Gaza in particular, is elected, and they are protecting their people. Now, when you're in a situation of genocide, we totally disagree with any form of violence in our group. But when you're in that situation, sometimes if you're fighting against genocide, history has shown us that if you don't stand up and fight for yourself, the creeping genocide we've seen over the last 76 years will continue.
What is your view then, Dr. O'Neill, of the action taken by Hamas at the weekend? Do you believe that was justified in the face of genocide as you describe it?
I think that what I need to say is that I'm the chair mainly of the Interfaith for Palestine group, which is a religious group. We have some atheists and non-believers in it. So we focus on the religious aspects of the issue. And what we're dealing with from the point of view of our group is a sectarian genocide.
That's your description of what the Israelis are responsible for.
Yes,
yeah, of
absolutely.
course. But just to the actions of Hamas there at the weekend, what's your view of
well, I've just told you that we would disagree with any form of violence taken out. But we understand why people did what they did in 1916. We understand what people did in the Warsaw Ghetto during World War II when they broke out of that prison. So, and Gaza has been described by David Cameron as the world's largest prison, open-air prison, and it's a concentration camp. And I think to put it in the Irish context, we need to contextualise it. The smallest county in Ireland is Louth. Gaza is half the size of Louth. It has 2.2 million people in it, with no water, no food, no energy, and the buildings in Gaza look like Hiroshima. So we have an absolutely shocking genocide. There's no need for it. The prison gates are closed. The Israelis have closed the prison gates. There is no need, there is no call for innocent Palestinian children to be murdered ruthlessly and continuously at this stage.
Yeah, and Adrian, what is your views of I mean, with this in this day and age, you talk of propaganda and listen, it's rife. I get that. I'm not disputing that. But in this day and age, we have access to social media platforms, Telegram, where what happens is you can see it. And what happened to me, and I can say this genuinely because I've not coming with an agenda, I'm not controlled in any way, I don't have any particular I'm formulating as I'm going here, but it seemed horrendous. And I suppose when you're seeking to get international support from people that are passive up until now, to see what was done to people who aren't soldiers or aren't involved in the military, to me it was horrendous. It's unimaginable, and I've kind of struggled with people's reluctance to condemn that, but I get it because they can also reflect on what has been put upon the Palestinian people. But for me, the last couple of days have just been absolutely horrendous. And again, let me clarify. Someone might say to me, well, I can show you a few videos of what the people of the Gaza Strip have endured. I get that, right? But I have to talk from the position where I am at emotionally right now.
I'm in a similar position, Greg, really, I'm just sort of like a common person here living in Ireland and witnessing these events and sort of wondering what the hell is going on. And the only thing that I can sort of like fall back onto is like a failure in the wider international community to sort of like look at the agreement that was drafted there 30 years ago called the Oslo Agreement, and where one side of the signatories were complying with that agreement, and the other side apparently weren't. So, and this has now been allowed to fester, and it's now manifested as this sort of like horrible tragedy that's happening in that part of the world. And it really shouldn't have been allowed to get to this stage, really, you know.
Ursula von der Leyen has commented, attacks against civilian infrastructure, especially electricity, are war crimes. Cutting off men, women, children of water, electricity and heating, with winter coming, these are acts of pure terror.
Yeah.
That was the comments you made about Russia. But nothing similar coming seemingly as it relates to the people of Palestine. Dr. O'Neill, why is there and to be honest with you, it seems a lot of the international leaders are being dragged kicking and screaming to sort of implore Israel to at least abide by the rules of war. But why is it different when we're talking about an oppressor of Ukraine versus, as many would say, Israel as an oppressor of the Palestinians?
That's a very good point. There was an excellent radio interview with a Palestinian doctor in Gaza yesterday. He made exactly the same point. He said Palestinian history now is pre-Ukraine and post-Ukraine. And what Ukraine has shown us is that there's a massive double standard. If you're a white Christian, we open our doors to you. That's great. I think Ireland is fantastic that it's taken in 100,000 Ukrainians. But if you're a brown Muslim or Palestinian Christian and you've been undergoing a creeping genocide for 76 years, there has not been the same response. There has not been the same outrage and public speaking. Now, what I would say, I might say, is that we are an apolitical group. We're interfaith. But we have to mention Sinn Féin here. Sinn Féin have been very, very forthright. They have many faults, I'm sure, but they have been very forthright in speaking up for the rights of the Palestinian, has people before prophet. Particularly Richard Boyd Barrett has spoken very, very severely to the Israeli ambassador, and that's gone viral. What we are disappointed with in our group is the relative silence relating to the Palestinians from Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, and the other parties. So, top marks to Sinn Féin and people before profit for their stand of integrity on the Palestinian issue. That's not to say that we can't criticise them for other aspects of their
I don't have
ideology.
the exact quotes in my head, but in fairness to Micheál Martin, I think he did. There were some nuances to his comments. Maybe it didn't go quite as far as I can't recall off the top of my head the comments from Leo Varadkar. So, Adrian. The problem is it seems beyond actual repair, this situation. Israel now has, and this is why the actions of Hamas, of what I've witnessed, are unimaginable. What the terror that people will put through, innocent people, whatever happens to people who decide to fight for their country, that there is an associated risk with that, but just to innocence. And then, of course, all of the attack on the innocents, children, particularly in the Gaza Strip, are more vulnerable to bombings and what have you. There's a terrible loss of children's lives over the course of an awful long time. But what is the solution? Because the weekend's actions, there are people probably would argue that this is an Israeli false flag because it's given them now the international backing to go in, and whoever gets in the way, it doesn't matter. They can go in and they are determined to wipe out Hamas. And whoever gets in the way of what's standing in their way now it's irrelevant. It's collateral. Even the hostages, it doesn't matter. So whatever we've witnessed before, I think we're going to see something far worse for the people of Palestine going forward. That turned into a statement.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean?
It's a difficult one, and I don't have any answers to it. All I can think of is people having respect and responsibility, and sort of having wisdom in this situation. And this is again where I go back to the international community. This subject has been on the table within the UN for years, and no action has been taken. Nobody has sort of stood up to not enforce, but to sort of like respect the decisions that were made within the UN with regard to this situation, particularly with regard to the rights of Palestinians and the indigenous people of that land. And just try and facilitate peace and justice as best as they can. And it's as I said earlier, like it's manifested in this situation now, where it's been allowed to fester. and it's now just a horrible tragedy, really, you know.
Yeah, and again, and even sort of maybe more right-leaning people seem confused because they're supporting both Russia and Israel at the same time, which it beggars belief to me, and it just goes to show that people adopt positions and really perhaps don't fully understand precisely what's going on. I don't engage with them, but I think, well, do you understand the sort of connections here and how all this works? And then we have this situation whereby in the Middle East we have both the Israelis and the Palestinians openly reporting the casualties, whilst in Russia and Ukraine they're actually keeping those cards very close to the chest. It's just interesting, the differences that we're seeing. What is the solution, Dr. Joseph O'Neill? And I mean, you know, not what you wish it to be, because that may be unachievable, but in reality, what is the solution here? Because I just can't imagine the bitterness and the hatred, how it's going to be magnified even furthermore with what is to come, especially when the ground invasion from Israel begins.
Yes, I think 2 points. One is I don't think this problem will get solved in our lifetimes. So we need to keep working at it. The other thing I would say that's come across to me time and again is Palestinians are very forgiving people. They're very forgiving, and that has been my experience for the last 15 years in dealing with the situation. Now, what can we do? Well, I'm the chair of an interfaith group, so we have a 3-point plan. It's very simple. It doesn't seem like very much, but it's something. And as Mother Teresa said, it may be a drop in the ocean. It's my drop in the ocean. And we have a 3-point plan is pray. Pray, or if you're a non-believer, be mindful of the situation every day, even for a short period. Talk about Palestine. Briefly, and when it comes up, the topic comes up, don't be afraid to discuss it. And nobody should accuse you of being sectarian for discussing, the longest and best documented genocide in history, which is what's happening to the Palestinians. And finally, to act. And act in whatever way is appropriate for your own current situation. Our interfaith group in particular, one of our members is a Jewish Israeli Holocaust survivor. He's a famous artist, and we have an exhibition of Palestinian paintings by him. It's an olive branch to the Palestinian people by an exiled Jewish Israeli artist. And it's been travelling all around Ulster, and it's visited all 9 Ulster counties. It's currently in the Conway Mill Heritage Centre in West Belfast. So the other actions you can do are very simple. Most countries in the world formally recognise Palestine, over 70%. Over 10 countries in Europe formally recognise Palestine, including the Vatican, which doesn't do things in a hurry. And we would say people should write to their TDs and to their councillors and say, Ireland, it's a very simple measure, but it's very symbolically important. Ireland should formally recognise Palestine. The second thing people should do in the south of Ireland is to support Senator Francis Black, the singer and senator, support her Occupied Territories Bill, wherein Ireland legally promises not to buy products from a militarily occupied area like Palestine.
That's never caught on. I've been doing interviews about that for a very long time, about to put pressure on Israel through, be it they make diggers and clothes and electrical products. It's never really, I mean, it seems like an obvious thing, but I think the complexity of it for most people...
Well, it's not complex.
It is, because I'll tell you why. As soon as you try and mention it or ask a question, you're accused of being part of a propaganda machine and shut down. And I've experienced of that and a little bit at the start of this interview. And I don't mean that with any way disrespectful whatsoever. And I understand where that comes from because of what people have been through. But people are afraid to say anything and educate themselves because they're afraid of what's about to come. And we've seen that, and I get it with a number of contributors from Palestine. And often the first tone of the question, people go on the defensive, and then you back out. You back out of that because I don't want it. And you get me? And I mean that with absolute respect to you, Dr. O'Neill. But I think that's the problem. I think people don't fully understand it, and maybe they're getting a better understanding of it now.
I think the word here is boycott. Now, boycott was invented in Ireland in 1880 and was a very, very successful, peaceful way of getting people's rights. So Ireland's famous for it. And what we're talking about basically is a simple boycott. Don't buy people's products. We had a very successful, peaceful boycott in South Africa against apartheid. Don't have their sportsmen here. don't have their artists here and don't send artists to Israel to support the cultural propaganda program. On a very simple local level, we had our meeting of our Palestine group yesterday, and we say there's other things you can boycott locally. Marks and Spencer's here in Letterkenny routinely sell dates from Israel. We shouldn't be buying those, because the profits from those dates goes towards the genocide. Tesco is routinely selling peppers. And again, the profits from those peppers is going towards the genocide.
And people can pick and choose which.
People can pick and choose, and people can actually, if they feel a little bit stronger, they go to the manager, very politely say, "Look, I don't think we should be selling these products." And finally, there's medications. There's a drug company called Teva. It's one of the top drug companies in the world. It does generic drugs. It has a big factory in Wexford or Waterford. It's an Israeli company. The profits from those drugs goes towards the genocide of the Palestinians. I've changed my Teva drugs. I've gone to my GP and said, "I'm sorry, but I really don't want to be taking these drugs from the company. Could you change to another generic?" And they do it without any comment whatsoever.
I wonder, has the actions of Israel and some might say Hamas too, Adrian, if we live in a world now whereby I don't believe we've ever been more divided, be it Jewish people, Muslim people, Christian people, even division within those religions, of whether you're not stern enough or you're too liberal or what have you. Then we have huge influencers like Elon Musk, who, as the Gaza electricity was cut off, decided to make charging your electric vehicle in Israel free. With everything, we are so divided now. I think it empowers countries to take actions or groups to take actions because they know people are stuck in their views. There's no... do you get where I'm coming from? Again, and question that sort of rambled into a statement, but I just fear that the world is now in such a space whereby we're going to see more and more of this, because people will seemingly back something regardless, just because it aligns with a general view that they've formed in their mind.
Yeah, there's severe fragmentation going on there within societies, and like talking about social media, like it contributes to that there as well, where people sort of follow their own kind of tunnel vision in a way, and don't kind of like have a broader open view about what's going on, and getting better context about the situation instead of just listening to the headlines and following like the main media out there with the stories that they're basically broadcasting. So it's a very difficult time, and it takes time to sit down and learn these things as well, like, which is a huge investment and effort required from someone to do that there. And it's kind of like contradictory in a way, where history is supposed to sort of like inform us, make us more intelligent, but now it's kind of like being used as sort of like a weapon to basically narrow our thinking and get us all to sort of like think in a certain way, but within a group think kind of setup.
Yeah.
So it's not helpful, but yeah, unfortunately, like, people are going to have to put the effort in and explore these matters a bit more broadly themselves.
Okay, well, if people have heard and are interested, there's a Peaceful Witness Day this Saturday at Tesco Roundabout from midday to 2 p.m. There's also a monthly... the first Friday of each month is Peaceful Witness Days. Where are they generally?
Same place.
Same place. Okay. So if people want to go down and stand in solidarity with people, then they can. Will we ever see maybe where a country like ours, which is neutral and should be, I think, using our platform for peace, see a situation whereby different groups can cohabit on a roundabout and say, enough is enough. I think that's the role we perhaps...
It's just compassion, really, like expressing that there.
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Joseph O'Neill and Adrian McCarry, both members of the Letterkenny Palestine Committee, isn't that correct? And you're obviously of Interfaith for Palestine, Letterkenny. Thank you both very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
I greatly appreciate it. We'll be back with more after the break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Seasonal loans now available for Christmas. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
The Donegal Texel Breeders will hold a sale of 45 rams in Rafo Livestock Mart this Friday, 13th of October at 7 p.m. Online bidding via the Mart Bids app. That's this Friday at Rafo Mart.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
For the biggest names in perfume and aftershaves, visit McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Dolce & Gabbana, Paco Rabanne, Carolina Herrera, Calvin Klein, Jimmy Choo and Burberry, Ariana Grande, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Vera Wang and many more. From timeless classics to celebrity favourites, there's a perfume or aftershave for everyone at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie.
Join us on the 14th of October at the Letterkenny Motor Show as we showcase our range of 241 Kias and 241 Nissan vehicles that will be available to order for January 241. Our sales team will be on hand to answer any questions you may have. iMotors, your home for Kia and Nissan in Donegal.
Hi, Kate Appleby here. Just wanted to let you all know my exciting new autumn shoe collection is available nationwide in all good shoe stores. kateappleby.com. Hope you enjoy my shoes.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossum College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Hey there, folks of Letterkenny. Mark your calendars. It's the Letterkenny Motor Show, happening on Saturday the 14th of October on a pedestrianised Lower Main Street. Come and explore the latest car models, enjoy fun activities for the whole family, and discover incredible deals that will get you on the road in style. It's the perfect family day out, and we can't wait to see you there.
The Letterkenny Motor Show is brought to you by the local franchised motor dealers and proudly supported by First Citizen Finance, Letterkenny Chamber, Donegal County Council, the Society of Irish Motor Industry and FBD Insurance.
Visit letterkennymotorshow.ie for more details.
Congratulations to our Super Value suppliers and Food Academy producers who won 94 awards at this year's Bloston Heron Awards, like our Super Value Signature Taste Cashel Blue Cheese by Cashel Farmhouse Cheesemakers winning gold, and our Food Academy producer Clonakilty Gluten-Free Kitchen also winning gold for their multi-grain loaf. Super Value, Ireland's #1 award-winning supermarket.
Stay warm for less this autumn with Homeland. 5-pack wood logs, buy 3 for €13. Hardwood log crate 450 kg, only €329. Nationwide delivery available. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Some cars pass by unnoticed, and others catch your eye. There's something about them, something different, something that just speaks for itself. The Opel Astra. A new generation Astra, a car that just has to be experienced on every level. Named Continental Tire's Irish Compact Car of the Year 2023. The Opel Astra speaks for itself. Test drive the Opel Astra at Manor Motors Opel. See manormotors.ie for details.
Bank of Ireland's new app feature lets you know if your bills are going up or if you've won too many subscriptions. It'll even show you a comparison of your spend over the last 6 months. So if you're getting constant deliveries, could someone answer that, please? Sorry. You'll know to maybe keep an eye on the online shopping. Seriously.
Tailored money insights with the Bank of Ireland mobile app, because your financial well-being is our priority. Bank of Ireland. Begin. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Terms and conditions apply.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport, where you can now fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect via Heathrow to over 80 destinations worldwide, including Boston, New York and more.
Okay, largely dry today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells. After a chilly start, though, a few spots of drizzle may occur near the coast. Cloud will thicken this afternoon. Temperatures 11 to 13 degrees, light southwesterly or variable breezes. Fresh along the coast. Okay. We heard yesterday from a spokesperson for one of the redress focus groups, and it underlined the work that's being done by them. And now, if you wish to engage with them, learn more information, there is a new website which has been launched, and it's a lovely website, actually. It is called, or the URL is, redressfocusgroups.ie. Roisin Gallagher is chair of the Redress Focus Groups and is with us now. Good morning, Roisin. How are you getting on?
Morning. Getting on great, yeah.
All right, it's good to have you with us. So just give us a brief outline of the formation of the Redress Focus Groups. It's always good. You never know when new people switch in, Roisin, just so people understand.
Well, I suppose a few years ago I started talking about a support hub, and I knew that we had to get something together to get support in place for the entire county. And I kind of pushed away at that, and I realised it wasn't really working out, but I would keep pushing on anyway. And so before Christmas, I suppose maybe even back as far as August, September, I started thinking about the idea of bringing in volunteers to help with the crisis, because I knew there were so many people that were able to and willing to help with so many issues, but they didn't have a platform to begin that work or to start from. So in January, fast forward, we did a lot of talking. I got together Joy and Brenda Tierney Joyce and Claire McDade when we formulated the Redress Focus Groups. So we are all homeowners, so it's a homeowner-led initiative. So we started in January by doing call-outs for volunteers in various locations, and that's how it all began, really.
And it's not just helping people and campaigning on the technical side of things. It's recognising too the emotional stress, which we've heard even just a fraction of on programmes like this. It's to assist in that as well, because there's this... people I know affected by this hatred of the property that they're in. They don't want to do anything to it. They don't care. Not everyone, of course, Roisin, but they're just so broken by it that they just don't feel there's any point in doing anything, you know, and then that permeates out through life as well too, Roisin.
Absolutely. Support and empowerment are two of our main focuses in Redress Focus Groups, and the mental health supports, although there are a lot of mental health supports in the area, Greg, no one knows more than you about how stretched those services are. So we have nothing in place specifically for supports and mental health support for people living through the defective blocks crisis. We bandied about this number of 5,000, 7,000. I mean, and the Inishowen Independent did a great article last week. We're looking at that number, 7,000, being in Inishowen alone. We're looking at 20,000 people. If you look about how many people are in those homes, you could be looking at, 80,000 people affected.
I know 5 outside Inishowen, and I have a small friends group. I know 5 outside Inishowen, a cluster they're defective concrete properties, but people haven't even really taken the step to establish that yet, but they know themselves, if that makes sense. So that's, as I say, I know 5 on one person with a relatively small sort of circle, if that makes sense.
So unfortunately, we don't have a number. We don't even have a true accurate estimate of a number. But I mean, the reality is, you take a drive around Donegal, there's even a village that you will drive through in Donegal. I won't say where it is. In 10 years' time, there'll be one building in that village that's standing. You know, it's a serious crisis, and one of the things that I have such an acute awareness of the enormity of the size of this. I don't know why, but I just seem to be able to grasp it. And I think there's a lot of people, the people that need to grasp it are not grasping the enormity of the situation. So creating awareness in this way, bringing people in, homeowners that feel frustrated or control of our own fate, of our own lives, has been taken away from us with this scheme. You know, and the lack of supports that are available. So Redress Focus Groups gives that power back to the people, and they own the crisis. They own Redress Focus Groups, and they are now in control of their own fate.
And I think it's really important too, because it's very hard to deal with everything, but I think it's really important for people that are affected by this or you are affected by this defective concrete issue, when there are redress focus group meetings held, for an example, that they go and attend, because the people that are involved in this need support as well, and they've got a lot of information to disseminate and to pass on. And it's very easy, I suppose, on a cold, wet evening or whatever it might be, if there's other stuff on, not to. But I think when these meetings are held, it's really important as many people, and they are well attended, but as many people as possible go to them, because those involved in them, Roisin, and I'm not speaking on their behalf, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but are also people that are dealing with this themselves and then giving of their time to try and help other people. So there needs to be a sort of a backflow of support there as well, because it's draining, I'm sure, to be part of this process.
It is, absolutely. And the dedication and commitment that's been shown by the volunteers that are coming on board, they're all homeowners. Almost all of them are homeowners, but of course some of them are not. They're affected indirectly, which is another thing people aren't aware of being affected in various different ways. For example, last night, the mental health and youth focus group, we had a meeting that began at 8:30 last night and didn't finish to 10 p.m. And actually, Caitlin was dialing in from Italy, so it was 11 p.m. with her. So the dedication and the commitment from volunteers and allies is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And in turn, that is going to empower other people to say, well, I can take part in this. I can volunteer. I can take control of my own fate as well. And they'll be encouraged to do that through seeing what the volunteers have achieved in such a short space of time as well. But yes, the meetings, they weren't as well attended recently, but the next meeting that we're having is the 24th of October, and then the final meeting we're having is the 5th of December. Both of them are held in Greenan Hotel, but I want to really make it clear that because we are only getting started, we're only getting going, we understand that the website is not going to be able to be used by everyone. We understand that we need physical supports and tangible supports that people can, we need a leaflet to go out to houses and people that are not online. And we also intend to do meetings throughout the county. So I don't want people in different areas of the county to feel that this is just a specific area.
I think people understand that. I hope they do, because there's a lot of stuff that's ongoing at the moment. The website itself is
for people in other counties and even on into Northern Ireland, that we can be a bit of a help to them and show them what can be done.
Okay, and the website is live now. It's I'm always afraid of giving out the wrong address. redressfocusgroups.ie, and those watching and myself here looking at it now, it's exactly how I like my web pages. It's simple, if you know what I mean. About redress groups, info, news, contact. That's what's there. An invitation to become a member, help and advice, and then the media centre. And that's it. You click through, and it's designed to be user friendly and manageable. And I know a lot of work has gone into that regard. And it's that's what's there now. It can grow from here on in now that the infrastructure is there.
Absolutely. And so I have to first of all thank Michael McGinty of Mean It Design and his team. And also Brenda Tierney-Joyce of tierneyjoyce.ie. Myself and Brenda and Michael, we worked on this every single day. And Michael approached me and said, what about a website? And I was so amazed that someone would offer something like that. I mean, this is they did it all in their free time. They actually took time out of their day's work to do this, to work on this. They did it all for free as a donation to the crisis, to the people, and what they have done is phenomenal. It's this sort of thing should have been done a long time ago. Government should be doing this, should be supporting this, should be funding this. Redress Focus Groups is run with absolutely no funding whatsoever. Everyone is doing everything voluntarily, which is it's a bit worrying going forward because of the commitment that it takes to organise and run Redress Focus Groups, and I will not be able to commit the time that I have been able to commit in the last few months. and that's a bit of a concern. But I mean, we keep pushing on. We'll try.
Yeah, well, lots of people could lighten the load then, rather than a few people taking it up. And there's a head of steam that it needs to be maintained as well. But it's there right now for you to go and check out. And it supplements, what's happening in terms of the work on social media, through the Facebook pages and Twitter X, etc., the in-person meetings, the campaigning and everything else that's going on. But the focus groups are delivering results. They are supporting people. And it's a long road, and it's a chipping away bit by bit. But if people stick together and unite and work together, people won't be beaten. It's a series of battles, but it is a war that will be won. And obviously that word has connotations.
The homeowners have proven this from day one. You've got the science, and you've got all the other things that the homeowners have done, and we have proven that if you work together, you can make change happen. So you have two choices. You can come and join the redress focus groups, feel empowered and be supported and take control of your own fate, or you can feel like this is hopeless. Yes, the scheme is not fit for purpose. It is absolutely awful. It's a shame that we are left with the scheme that we are, but we've got to work with what we have right now. There's people saying, that we can't be saddled with loans. The banking and insurance group are not asking for loans, so that is misinformation. There are people that cannot live any longer in their homes, and they need the money to be given to them.
Bridging finance. Yeah.
Yeah. It's bridging finance, which is not a loan.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be able to move on with what we have, and we need to have hope. We need to encourage each other, and we need to make sure that we can get through this crisis, because if we give up and we don't do that, where are we going to be?
All right, redressfocusgroups.ie, and people like Roisin and the others involved need your support as well, because they can't do it all themselves, dealing with their own problems with their houses and family and everything else that comes with this life, Roisin. Listen.
Exactly, yeah, and I really have to mention the volunteers, Greg. Thanks so much for having me on this morning, but without the volunteers, we can't do any of the work. And you'll see on the website there's a progress report of what the volunteers have actually done and achieved in such a short space of time. I would always be the one answering anybody on social media. Now you'll have Jess, you'll have Debbie, and I'm also so grateful to Garrett Hart of Hart Media. So it is a culmination of people coming together, and it proves that if we do, we can pull ourselves out of this hole.
Thanks, Roisin. Take care of yourself. Back with more after the break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Ho ho, hold on to your handlebars, Letterkenny. LK Bikes Christmas Club is now open. Santa's one-stop shop for kids' bikes and e-scooters. Secure your gifts with a small deposit and enjoy easy online payments later. Make this Christmas unforgettable with LK Bikes. Visit us today in store or online at lkbikes.com.
Easy Living Furniture's annual Oktoberfest sale is now on. Absolutely everything reduced, including sofas, dining, beds and mattresses. Save up to 60% on a huge range of products that are in stock and ready for delivery. And with 0% interest-free finance available with no deposit, the decision is easy. Oktoberfest sale now on in Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park.
Looks like we're in for a cold spell.
Perfect weather to chill out in a steaming seaweed bath on Sligo's shores.
Talk of scattered showers too.
Perfect weather for sea swimming off the coast of Waterford. Sure, you're already wet.
It's fierce windy out there.
Perfect weather to be swept off your feet on a romantic weekend in Cork City. Whatever the weather, it's always perfect weather to keep discovering. With great short breaks forecast right across Ireland, plan your next one now at discoverireland.ie.
Applications are now open for the Donegal Enterprise Awards, hosted by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. The awards celebrate the diversity and strength of the small business community in Donegal. A prize fund of €14,000 will be awarded across 9 different categories. This is an excellent opportunity to promote and showcase your business. Apply before Monday the 23rd of October at 12 p.m. via localenterprise.ie/Donegal or email info@leo.donegalcoco.ie for more information. Derek Ryan returns to the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny for his weekend of dancing this Friday 13th and Saturday 14th of October, with special guests Sinead Black and Jim Devine on Friday night, and Gavin Gribben and Johnny Brady on Saturday night, plus late night bar entertainment each night. That's Derek Ryan's weekend of dancing, Friday 13th and Saturday 14th of October at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. Pay at the door.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Now it's 9:09, time for a 11, I beg your pardon. Time for a news update, and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. It's emerged the government still hasn't fully approved a Donegal County Council programme to address the impact of defective blocks on its own social housing stock. The programme was submitted 2 years ago this month. Members were told at a special meeting that at least 20% of the council's houses are affected, and that figure is set to rise. Donegal County Council is being asked to help resolve issues regarding access on the beach at Port Salon. Damage to a pedestrian bridge means the only way to cross a stream and continue walking on the bridge is to go through the local golf club, and that's potentially dangerous as that route crosses the fairway of the second hole. Seconding a motion from Councillor Jimmy Kavanagh, Councillor Liam Blaney said the council put up the bridge 20 years ago, but no department is taking responsibility for it now. The council says it's working with the golf club in a bid to find a solution. Deputy Patrick McLaughlin has written to the Health Minister asking him to review a decision to not include Donegal Town as a location for a surgical hub. 40,000 inpatients are treated each year between Letterkenny University Hospital and Sligo University Hospital, and with Donegal Town almost halfway between the two, Deputy McLaughlin believes a hub there would take pressure off both facilities. However, he says all the surgical hubs approved so far are south of the Dublin-Galway line. 77% of Irish households believe a car is absolutely necessary for family transport. 4 in 5 use the car as their primary mode of travel, which is almost 4 times the number who mostly use public transport. Research by Liberty Insurance also found only 2% of Irish people believe it isn't necessary to have access to a car. And Donegal County Council has pledged to examine the possibility of providing a car park at the start of the bridle path on the Glendowen side of Glenveigh National Park. The issue was raised this week by Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly, who told Letterkenny Milford Municipal District that just a few parked cars on that road can create blockages. Discussions are to be held with the Office of Public Works to explore the possibility of them developing a parking area at the location. And we're back with headlines again at 12 noon. Don't forget, by the way, regular updates on our website, highlandradio.co.
Thank you, Donald.
From Marvel Studios. What I'm about to tell you is going to be hard to believe again. Loki Season 2. War is on its way. Join the God of Mischief on his mission. You better run! To save the multiverse's past, present, and future.
Time slipping. You know that? Yeah. You've seen that? Yeah. Can you fix that? No.
Marvel Studios Loki. New season now streaming exclusively on Disney+. 18+ subscription required. T's and C's apply.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Some of your comments here. If Hamas can smuggle in thousands upon thousands of rockets into Palestine, I'm sure they have no problem getting in a bit of food and water. They want to see Palestinians killed to stir up hatred against Israel, believes the listener. Iran is assisting them in the transport of weapons, many feel, but to be able to smuggle food to feed many millions, I'm not sure. I abhor, condemn the killing of all innocent human beings, says the listener. How can you applaud Sinn Féin and people before profit? They've no problem with abortion, the cruel killing of thousands of helpless little babies. Referring to Mother Teresa's quote. Thank you for speaking the truth about Palestine. The Western media in general have a narrative that's repeated daily, full of untruths and propaganda. I pray for the poor Palestinians. Hi, Greg. I was just comparing the size of the Gaza Strip to parts of Donegal. The Gaza Strip would fit into Inishowen twice. Dreadful what's going on, and these people have nowhere to go. I think people don't realise, or maybe they are beginning to realise, how many people are jammed into a tiny little space that they can't move from. Really at all. Anne's with us now. Good morning, Anne.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay. We're talking about the fuel allowance, Anne. What's your view on it?
Well, it's the cap that they have on the means testing as far as the fuel allowance is concerned. They have a cap on it of 500 per week, and anything over that, then you're not entitled to the fuel allowance. I would be a 75-year-old lady, and quite active, thank God. I'm lucky. But with the fuel allowance being means tested, they don't take into consideration any outgoings that somebody would have. So, I am slightly over, which means I'm not entitled to the fuel allowance at this age. It's not just me that I'm speaking for. I'm speaking also for people that would be in the bracket of maybe 20,000 annually, which is not an awful lot in this day and age to be living on with the price of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would have an awful lot of outgoings in the line of my rent, my messages, my home secure to keep my house safe, my petrol, tax on my car, insurance, car loan, my coal. I have loans in a few loans in the credit union. Home insurance, oil, electric, just to name a few, and I'm sure everybody is in the same boat as myself with maybe something similar, which leaves you over the 500 bracket. And with them doing what they've done at the moment, they haven't even looked at that. They have that cap on it of 500, which I feel they should have done something about that. And they haven't done.
Yeah, and it's 1,000 for a couple, just in case anyone's listening. Whilst they won't take into consideration your outgoings, what they do take into consideration, though, is any savings one might have for a rainy day or for inheritance purposes or whatever it might be. The cost of your property, anything over €50,000 is counted, by the way, or any investments. Really, they don't mind.
I'm not in that bracket, Greg.
I understand that, but my point being, Anne, is that you are assessed for what you might have in terms of collateral, but you're not assessed because a lot of those aren't actual money that you can access on a weekly basis. But you're not assessed for your outgoing. So in other words, it's not equal, is it? It doesn't give It doesn't have a fair
Exactly.
representation of people's different positions.
That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point, and I'm still going to try and see, what I can do about this. I'll go to Citizens Advice again on the situation and see if they have anything they can throw light on that I can put forward to them. At this stage, I don't think so. But, in the winter time, I would burn at least 2 bags. They want us to burn the smokeless fuel, which at the moment it's €23 a bag. Which is reduced at the moment, but it will be going back up again as the winter goes on. Last year, that bag of fuel was $28.50. So I've burned at least 2, if not gone into my third, if the weather's bad.
That's €60 a week. And the thing what I don't understand about it, Anne, is the big push on at the moment that's going to become ever more so as we move forward is encouraging people or compelling them to contribute to their own pension. Which presumably for many people might bring them towards or over that €500 per week, whereas it's another argument to say, well, maybe I'm better off not doing it. I'm not suggesting that for a second, but it's not incentivizing people, is it, to sort of contribute to their retirement if it's used against you then for an allowance like heating your home?
Well, why don't they even look at the fact that, people have done their work all their life, they've paid all their dues, and they come to their pension age and they get their pension. Now, I worked with the health service all my life. It was Donegal County Council, then it went on to the divisionals of the North Western Health Board, etc., and then the HSE. And I worked right up until I had about 33 and a half years service. And then I had to go out early because I had arthritic issues going on. It was work related, I worked as a clerical officer and with your head bent forward, I had this thing going on with my neck and I was worried sick that I would end up bent.
Yes.
And my fingers, the joints in my fingers, there's a lot of arthritic problems in my mother's side of the family. So I had these issues that I couldn't close even my forefinger whenever I was writing, and just to do with wear and tear at work, not that you just done it. But whenever you come to this age of 66 or whatever and you get your pension and then you go on to 70 and there's these different incentives of being able to get your fuel allowance or you go on to your 70 plus, why did they not even look at the fact that, whenever you're 70 or 70 plus, that they lifted the cap Because if you worked in a job, in a government job, you're paying your dues all your life, or any other work-related situation, you're paying your dues all your life. You paid your tax, you paid your stamp and all of that there to be able to have these extras whenever you got to your pension age. Why did they not sort of think and look at it with 70, maybe 70 plus? We'll lift the cap slightly and maybe give an allowance of not this 500, but maybe head it up to about 650 to 700. Like, it's not as if you're asking them to do too much, but a little bit to give that leeway for people that were in these sort of jobs that was going to knock them. I think it's sad that you go into your older years and there's these little perks, but you can't get them.
Yeah. And even in your case, it would only help because it would pretty much cover one bag of the 2 bags that you would use in a week. It's €33 per week for 12 weeks. So you're not looking for a freebie. You're looking for some help, a return on your contribution, however one wants to describe it. Whilst you were speaking, and I was listening to you intently, I was going through the NFS2 form, which you have to fill out if you're over 70 for the fuel allowance, and everything is about how much you have, any income, pensions from outside Ireland, other payments from inside Ireland, and nothing, of course, as you've already pointed out, Anne, that takes into consideration the growing cost of living, your outgoings.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
They haven't made, if they even had made an allowance of about 150 onto that itself, or even 200, that's not an awful lot, because even listening to the budget at the minute, there's things that they're doing, and I just feel so angry, I really do feel angry, and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah, what's bothering you, Anne?
It's bothered me trying to keep on top of my financial situation, because I would have had commitments that I'm able to cover, but it's just that it would have been nice to be able to get my fuel allowance. That's just all I was asking for, and I don't think it was an awful lot in all the years that I've worked and paid my dues to just ask for €33 a week extra.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and and when you're in your working years, you don't really anticipate this stuff. I don't think people consider it. It kind of comes, it hits you. If you're lucky enough to live into your 70s or 80s and are in good health, when you're in your 30s and 40s, you're really considering what life might be like. Did you have a different notion of what life might be like post retirement, Anne?
Yeah. I just feel saddened by it,
let down, I think, is another
I do. I'm extremely disappointed, to be quite honest. I am extremely disappointed, but there's absolutely supposed. I will do a paper trail on it and see where I can go with it. If I can do it for somebody else. If it doesn't work for me, maybe it might do something for somebody else, and if it does, it does.
Well, stay in touch with us, Anne, if there's any information you want us to get out there if in your endeavours, okay?
Yes.
All right,
yes.
Anne.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
That's lovely, Greg. Thank you very much.
Take care of yourself. Okay. A caller says, I'm with AIR for decades. I discovered something this year that my contract end date was the 15th of October. I contacted AIR on the 20th of September and got a new contract. My next bill, I discovered the price changed to out of contract. Spent days on to AIR, but I only got a goodwill credit, which didn't make up total my perceived loss. The price change in contract is due to the method how AIR issue bills, which is 1 month in advance. So beware and contact AIR a month prior to the end of your contract. Could you call back and tell me on the quiet what you're paying and for what services, if you don't mind, just for the crack, and we'll see how much above what potentially you could be paying you're paying, because you've been with them for decades. So if you don't want to, that's fine. The information is not for publication or anything as such, but what are you paying AIR and what services are you getting? 086, well, you know the number. Get back in touch with us. You only require an ADR to carry fuel if you have the capacity to carry more than 999 litres. I love this programme, people have so much information. I couldn't figure out how people could transport fuel from a service station pump to their home if you required a licence. So that kind of answers that. I appreciate it. Early years childcare advanced course, third years in the ATU that were being taught in the Northwest Regional College started 3 weeks ago with 4 students, numbers from before the course began. Email received by the students last night to say that they were cancelling the course due to the low numbers. They gave an option to defer or to go into second year in the Letterkenny campus, meaning participants would have to repeat a year. Any more information on that? Now, it doesn't affect a lot of people, but what's going on? We need lots of people trained in those areas. Hi, Greg. I was in hospital at the weekend because a hospital consultant advised my GP that I needed to be admitted due to concerning blood results. I had a relatively short wait in the ED, 9 hours to get a bed. The bed was at the end of a corridor with a screen in front of it. I was admitted on Saturday and discharged on Monday evening. I didn't see the consultant I needed to see and was sent home with a prescription and the promise of an outpatient's appointment. Fortunately, my GP is excellent and is trying her best to make sure I'm okay. I feel for the GPs who now have to try and manage issues which should be managed by consultants. I think the principals, says another listener, I think the principals in secondary schools should be lectured on the drugs problems facing young people. It starts well before college. It's so offensive to society and ruins lives. More education in schools, is that what you're saying should be done? Jamie's Thank You Weekend is taking place in Burton Port Community Centre this coming Saturday. There'll be an indoor Mammy's Market, good quality pre-loved baby and children toys, clothes and equipment from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. On Sunday, the 15th of October, a vintage tea party from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's in aid of Temple Street Children's Hospital, Bumbulance, Little Blue Heroes, Blood Bike Northwest and Donegal Cancer Flights and Services. So it's Jamie's Thank You Weekend taking place, and it is on the dates I just mentioned. I just wanted to double check there. The 14th and 15th of October, this coming weekend. It's in the Burton Port Community Centre. A Mammy's Market. You don't see too many of those, by the way. So get along and you can get your good quality pre-loved baby and children's toys, clothes and equipment from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then a vintage tea party from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on the Sunday. And this is a thank you to amazing services that we never know when we may use them or need them. We hope that we won't, but all too often we do. Temple Street Children's Hospital, Bumbulance, Little Blue Heroes, Blood Bike Northwest, Donegal Cancer Flights and Services. So if you want to support those events, pick up a few things at the Mammy Market and have a vintage tea party on the Sunday, please do so and support Jamie and his thank you through his family. Okay. I'm glad I got to mention that because that's the one I was trying to mention yesterday, but I only had a link. But I have the full thing now, so thanks to Donna Marie for that. Okay, back shortly.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
At ESB Networks, we're connecting Ireland to a clean electric future. And as part of the National Smart Metering Programme, we're now installing smart electricity meters in your area. Your new smart meter will reduce the need for estimated bills, help you to manage your electricity usage more efficiently, and enable you to access smart electricity products and services. We'll contact you before your meter is installed. Find out more at esbnetworks.ie/smartmeter.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual office address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save your business hundreds, possibly thousands on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
Find out how the budget will affect your farm and family in this week's Irish Farmers Journal. €60 million in extra funding for acres and organics. Government commits €200 per suckler cow. €5,000 stock relief boost for farmers. Sheep farmers to get extra €8 per ewe. New limit on land leasing tax reliefs. €8 million fund for tillage farmers. And new higher TAMS funding for slurry storage. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Every Volvo made goes through a rigorous quality check process before it leaves the factory. Every pre-owned Volvo available through our Volvo Select program goes through that same process again, with all the quality, power and guarantee you expect from Volvo. Own a pre-owned all-electric Volvo C40 or XC40 Recharge with a minimum 12-month unlimited mileage warranty and Volvo assistance as standard. Get used cars recharged at McGinley Motors. Search Volvo Select or visit volvocast.ie. Terms and conditions apply.
The Shimas Grand Festival, a weekend of the best in traditional music, singing and dance in Clonmany from the 13th to the 15th of October. Concerts featuring Thomas Drain, Paula and Melanie Houghton and the amazing Frankie Gavin. Tickets on Eventbrite or pay at the door. Check out out full programme on Facebook or log on to SeamusGrantWeekend.com. Clonmany, 13th to the 15th of October is the place to be.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time's 11:20. Now, if you're a regular listener to this show, you would know that I think we all accept that drugs are rife right across the country. No longer an urban situation. Whether that was ever a myth or not, I don't know. But they are available everywhere, and there's so much money in it. The dealers are exploiting every avenue they can to make money. Janine Kennedy is Irish Country Living editor and joins us now. Janine, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. Right, now, your publication has conducted an investigation into drug activity in urban and rural areas. What were the jump-out findings for you?
Well, honestly, I think we all are aware, basically, that drug use is on the rise. Cocaine use in particular is on the rise in the entire country. You know, we always thought it was more of an urban issue, or maybe it was occurring in towns, larger towns. I think
certain classes of people as well, too. That was out there for a long time as well. But sorry, Janine, continue.
Yeah. No, that's totally fine, and you're absolutely right. It was a certain class of people, and certainly it was a more expensive drug on the market. And for farming families in particular, I think a lot of people would have assumed that agricultural families would be kind of far removed from those situations. And I think in recent times, it's been shown that that's just not the case. Increasing use of social media in terms of accessing drugs has made it available anywhere in the country and at any time. And what we've learned is that a lot of drug dealers see Irish farms as more like cash availability. So they see us nearly as ATMs. And while we wanted this series to not be an alarmist kind of thing, you know, we're not trying to create headlines or anything, but we did want to create awareness and know that there were supports out there, I suppose, for families who would have been affected by cocaine addiction.
Yeah, and so we don't really have an idea of the full extent of it. We know cocaine's readily available. We know it's widely used. We know it's widely used in all areas of society. Do you think then within, say, for instance, the agricultural community, with usage follows addiction, that there is maybe more people than we would have anticipated living in rural farming communities who are addicted to cocaine?
Absolutely. This week, our health writer spoke with Sarah Cassidy, who works in rehabilitation, and she was saying that it has become increasingly the case that she's dealing with young farmers, generally aged between 18 and 30. They're the most often impacted. And what she's saying is that they will start with something else, maybe a gateway drug like marijuana, and move on to those kinds of things. But the problem is that, you know, with any kind of addiction, there are going to be things like relationship breakdowns on farms. There are additional problems. You know, it can affect things like succession. It can affect familial breakdown. It can put family farms into serious debt as well. And it can also increase on-farm accidents or the occurrence of an incidence of on-farm accidents. So it is really something for farming families to consider, and also know that, I suppose, where in the past few decades people would have wanted to keep this kind of thing quiet, that it's really important. You know, we've become aware of the things like mental health, you know, being able to talk about mental health issues and financial issues. A lot of farmers face these issues, and it's becoming increasingly okay to talk about these things and bring them to your community, your wider community. And this is a similar subject. You know, it's okay to look for help and look for support.
Yeah, because often the evidence shows, and by the way, just for context, we are the fourth highest consumers of cocaine in this country. So let there be no doubt it is a very, very significant problem. But what happens is there's drug usage in the late teens and on through their 20s, and then the problems really start to hit home, you know, in the mid-20s and beyond. At that point, the addiction is well established. The debts have been built up. The real threat to the family asset or the personal assets there, if they're not already gone at that stage, there's a real threat to them there. Not to mention that you're dealing with criminals who will leverage against you to get money from you and keep you addicted.
Yes, and if you read the article in this week's edition, you'll find that in a lot of cases, the guards are quite helpless in this area as well. Not necessarily helpless, maybe that's the wrong word to use, but there hasn't really been a way of getting farming families out of this debt once it's incurred.
Yeah, the hands are tied.
We're talking... Yeah, we're talking tens of thousands of euro, up to 30,000 in some cases. And, you know, it becomes an additional stress, and it really, really impacts farming families. So in addition to needing to go to rehabilitation, you're also dealing with the stress of this death.
So obviously Irish Country Living is doing its bit in investigating this and highlighting it. Is it time that we saw more activity, I wonder, from farming groups to sort of say, right, okay, there's some evidence now that there is an issue, and we need to offer pathways and support and signposting for people who, before they find themselves in a difficult situation, a situation that's more difficult to get out of?
Absolutely. And aside from, we've listed in the article some areas where people can go for help if they feel like there might be a problem within their family, with a loved one, or with themselves even. But for farming organizations around the country to be aware that this is happening on farm, and to encourage, in the same way, like I said, that we've developed these mental health programs for farmers, these physical health programs for farmers, we also need to approach addiction. And it's not just cocaine. You know, there are serious gambling addictions that we need to deal with, alcoholism, and all of these addictions are an illness at the end of the day, and they need support to be able to get out of these problems, these situations. So I think that there's a huge amount of work that we can do within the farming community ourselves to make it okay for people to come forward and say, I have this problem and I need help.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting point that we don't hear enough of, Janine, because, you know, society's set up that people will be judged or scrutinised or whatever, and that could be a barrier to seeking help. Okay, people can read more, of course, in this week's Irish Country Living. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Janine Kennedy there. 086 60 25,000 if that something affects you or you have a say on that. Hi, Greg. Can you ask your listeners, did anyone notice a string of lights going across the sky last night at around 8:45 p.m? If you did, and they do pass over here from time to time, it's 99% likely that was Starlink satellite, the satellite broadband system that operates in our orbit, and it does cross over Donegal, especially when they're launched. After they're launched, they're in low orbit for a while. They cross over us, and then they go up higher, and then we can't see them. So anytime that a string of lights has been observed above us, I've been able to check back, and it coincided with a launch of Elon Musk's Starlink satellites. So I would suggest that's what that is. A caller says, my husband gets illness benefit for himself, me and 2 children. We don't get fuel allowance. My council house has not been tested. Although I have alerted Donegal County Council, they've now filled the many cracks and are going to paint over it. Like papering over the cracks probably has Micah. Thank God, due to being unable to pay a mortgage, I sold the property back to DCC a few years back, and that I have no children or a partner to worry about the future. When the cracks open up and the nightmare experiences in financial and health, safety horror stories that I've heard about all over Donegal and Ireland. My fear is that the politicising by going for election will divide the opposition and stall the decline of the political parties that are currently in government, and oversaw the crisis unfolding and sat on their hands, as this caller sees it, for many years. The council, you heard in the news there, the council's hands are somewhat tied in what they can do as well. I do know they're calling out to people's properties, and if there is remedial work that can be done, they are doing so. But the department, and just heard from Donal here, and we can have a look at this now. Department approval still not received for DCC remediation of social houses affected by defective blocks. I'll read the story here just to put a bit of context from Donal. It's emerged that the government still hasn't fully approved the Donegal County Council programme to address the impact of defective blocks on its own social housing stock. The programme was submitted 2 years ago this month. There's an extensive report from Donal Kavanagh on our website, highlandradio.com, on that story. So that's why the council can't do anything, because the housing department has yet to approve their remediation plan of their own property. What a fantastic interview. Thank you, Greg, for the insight. Is that the interview we had as it relates to the Middle Eastern crises? It's a shocking and sad testimony to humanity that Israel is being cheered on by some international leaders, corporate leaders and the mainstream media as it commits genocide in Gaza, justified by the heading of the right to defend itself. While the actions of Hamas cannot be condoned, it's not surprising they acted as they did. That line is again where I feel a bit uncomfortable at any point to go in and kill innocent people, men, women, children, babies. I know you're not condoning it, and I know you say you're not surprised by it, but I don't know. It's just horrific what's been going, the videos that have been shared. But reading on, and my apologies, Israel has illegally occupied Palestinian lands and inflicted horrific human rights abuses upon the civilians of Palestine for decades. Blockades, preventing access to medical aid, construction materials and machinery, regular cut-offs of power and water supply, illegal eviction of Palestinian families with their homes handed to Jewish settlers, regular shooting of unarmed children, abduction of children and detention in jail, targeting of women and children by snipers. UN and Amnesty International reports proving all of this, all ignored for decades by world leaders and the media. And on it goes. It's a long message, and I think I got the crux of it out there. But thank you very much for sending that in. Now, just before the break, Worski's Christmas lights, you know, the work Worski's do. Lots and lots of people, it's part of their Christmas to go up and see the lights, but it all has to be funded. And there's a night of music and crack in McGinley's Bar in Kerrykeele. It's tomorrow night, Friday night, from 9 p.m. A host of local musicians and comedians will perform. Okay, well done. Worski's Christmas lights, night out tomorrow in McGinley's Bar, Kerrykeele, if you want to go along.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Are you ready for unmissable magic? Are you ready for winter in Dublin? November's longer evenings when the city lights shine even brighter. Chock-a-block with festive fun in December. And unmissable live music and must-see events in January. That's 3 whole months of winter wonder just waiting for you. Get ready for the buzz of our bustling city streets. It's enchanting, unforgettable fun. Make your plans today at visitdublin.com. Winter in Dublin. It's magic. Brought to you by Folja Ireland.
Make delicious meals with double savers from Dunnes Stores, where you'll save in the aisle with ingredients for a tasty cod tray bake. That's fresh cod fillets, only €4. Baked in the oven with hearty veggies and herbs like baby potatoes, chives and a 49-cent courgette. All from the Dunnes Stores range. And you can save again at the till with our 5 off 25 grocery vouchers. Double savers from Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
At CarZone, we're serious about buying and selling cars. We know nothing about garden furniture, gym equipment, or guinea pigs. But if you want a car, we're your people. We're Ireland's trusted motoring marketplace with the quality cars, advice and tools to help you make the right purchase. CarZone.ie, a serious site for serious buyers.
From the morning routines to cosy family moments, Grant has been bringing comfort to homes for over 45 years. With our biofuel-compatible condensing boilers, heat pumps and underfloor heating, you can trust Grant to heat your home now and into the future. Think heating, think Grant. Visit grant.ie.
Book in to iMotors to get your car autumn ready. As weather conditions change, it's vital that you get your car health checked. Book in today for a checkover or annual service. Visit imotors.ie or call into our showrooms in Letterkenny or Malin.
At Centra, shop smart and feel good with great offers until Sunday. Like Moretti 12 bottle pack, only €15. Lucozade 6 bottle pack, only €3. And KitKat 2 finger bars 9 pack, only $1.50. So shop smart, feel good. Centra, live every day. Enjoy a call sensibly.
Rightio, let's go to Donegal Town. It's Mayor Pádraig Kennedy joins us on the show now. Good morning, Pádraig.
Good morning, Greg, and congratulations on your award at the weekend and your team. It's a well-deserved award.
Appreciate it, Pádraig. You're very kind. Right, okay. What's going on in Donegal Town at the moment in terms of traffic?
Well, it's kind of a bit up in the air at the minute, Greg. we're doing a new one-way system, and I guess it's probably just a bit up in the heap at the minute, with just people getting used to the whole layout of it and all, you know. But I do think when it does settle down, I do think it will be a good job, and it will help the flow of traffic around the town.
Now, people might get confused and say, sure, it's one way around the diamond already. So, Pádraig, what has changed? What area is one way now?
Well, it will be... You can turn right down by the old Ulster Bank, and then you'll turn left going across Castle Street, and you can take a left again, and that'll take you back onto the diamond. But you can't leave the diamond and go over.
So you can't any longer come in from Killybegs, turn left at Timoney's there and park at the post office. You would have to go round the diamond, turn left at Charlie's there, and back up the other way.
Yeah. Okay. And you can't go over to Connell Street to, you know, if you were going over to the Bosco Centre or over the Mart. Okay. You can't leave the diamond and go over past the old post office or past the castle there. Yeah. That's one way coming into the town, you know. And I suppose we knew it was coming, and I guess you know, everyone was notified about it, but I suppose when it happened then, it kind of just caused a whole heap of turmoil for a while. But I think it is settling down, and I know with the help of Emer and the Livestock Mart and Shauna and Pádraig in the Bosco Centre, they have opened up their gates and help alleviate the parking, you know, and it all will settle down.
So what problem do you believe this, and I know you're not responsible for this, but what problem do you believe this was trying to fix?
I think it probably is, you know, thankfully we have a problem in Donegal with people and business and people coming through the town, and it was up in a heap. And I suppose this is part of the whole plan. They're going to redevelop the diamond and down at the pier. And I know that they're in talks too with the buses to maybe build a new bus stop or a new bus station to take the buses off the diamond, and that will help it all as well. It's all part of the plan, you know, and I do think overall it will be a great job for Donegal, and you know, we're welcome it.
But say for instance you're coming in down past the chapel, you're coming from the Letterkenny direction and you wanted to go to the castle, right? Okay. Yes. You would, I think automatically you'd probably drive past the turn-off down past the old Ulster Bank, and you would drive round the diamond, and then you get to the right-hand turn there at the Castle Bar, and there's no entry there. So
no entry there.
So at that point, then you're expected then to drive out to the roundabout and go round the town again.
No, well, you could just proceed on and take the next right, and then that'll take you down around New Row there, and you could park down around New Row there, down near the Forge Bar, and down along there, you know, and go up the steps to the castle that way. I suppose it sounds complicated at the minute, but you know what, it will blend itself to the one-way system. But I suppose the fear is that, you know, it could take away some of the character, a bit like Main Street, Letterkenny. You know, Letterkenny Main Street was always a bustling Main Street, and then it sort of, you know, went one way, and then it sort of tried to do away with all parking on the Main Street, you know. So you're afraid it's a balancing act of all of that, really.
Yeah. You know? Like as I say, and I'm not trying to be objectionable, Pádraig. I'm trying to figure if the problem it's fixing, because you know what I mean. Obviously, with any change, you want to progress. But I'm trying to think of all the times I've driven around Donegal town, what problem this has been identified and what's being fixed here. Stay with me, Pádraig. Raymond Rooney's owner of Peter Mann's shop there, which you would know was opposite the old Ulster Bank, which we were just talking of. Raymond, what is... firstly, do you know why they've done this?
Well, Greg... I'm not privy to all the conversations in the council, but the reality is it's to ease congestion around town. And in reality, if you think about it, next year Donegal town is 550 years old, and all the roads are quite narrow in their design, and they're not designed for two-way traffic for buses and heavy goods vehicles. For me, the council what they're doing is that they're designing a town, a traffic management plan that's going to be sustainable today and tomorrow and the next 20 years. And every busy town, and Donegal town is a successful busy town, every busy town, be it Letterkenny, Sligo or everywhere, how they manage congestion around the town is that they introduce one-way systems. And we're no different. We're probably a victim of our own success. That
Are they going to stop buses parking outside the hotels there, I wonder, or the double parking that takes up one lane all the time?
To be honest, I'm not too sure, but that's the elephant in the room. In reality, what they've done by putting all the traffic up Tyrconnell Street and onto the Diamond, they've hastened the decision that will come that they have to address, and that's the buses on the Diamond, double parking at the Bank of Ireland, all that. They've.
But those are the root causes they're the root causes of the congestion, as far as I can see as a road user. That's one of the issues. All right, I think for me it's narrow streets and delivery trucks and buses trying to get up and down, and they're just not. The roads weren't designed 550 years ago to be used for heavy goods vehicles. So I think it's just it's just a reality that. Okay, well, we're at two stages at the moment. The work's ongoing at the moment, or it's bedding in, maybe might be a better way to describe it. What is the feedback from the business community as to any impact it's having?
Oh, well, in reality, obviously, parking has now been reduced. In what Donegal Town was always a difficult place to park. Obviously, during construction, a lot of the on-street parking will now disappear. So that's made a difficult situation more difficult. I have heard rumours, I don't know how true or not it is, that St John Bosco have been approached maybe to open up their parking space for the duration of the construction, but that's only just a rumour. I heard that the other day, but I don't know. But anything that the council could do or to alleviate parking during construction and even after construction. I've been on your show before talking about parking.
Of course, Raymond. And where's the park, just for people that want to go in there and shop and visit and what have you, because you know yourself and Pádraig does too. Lots of people love to visit Donegal. What parking at the moment has been lost?
Well, on-street parking, let's say Tyrconnell Street, on-street parking, as you said, as they bed in their construction, and as they commence digging the road, so all the widen the footpaths, all the on-street parking that would have been there will disappear.
It's a major effort, no doubt. And so, Raymond, once it's completed, what kind of are you satisfied it won't have a negative impact on businesses? Do you think it will make Donegal Town even more popular?
I think I'm for it. I'm absolutely in for it. I think it will ease congestion on the smaller streets. It will create a flow of traffic. But like I said before, unless they address the elephant in the room, which is the double parking of buses and double parking in and around the Diamond area, any progress will halt unless that's addressed. And the council know well. They do know well. We've all been lobbying them for years, and they're well aware of it.
Right.
And,
so in other words, the full benefits of this new one-way system and the movement of traffic won't be felt until such time as people desist from double parking at the AIB, as you mentioned there, and also the heavy bus traffic that's there as well.
Yeah, that's in a nutshell. That's exactly it. Yeah.
All right, Raymond. Listen, thanks very much for that. Owner of Peter Mann's shop, which is opposite the old Ulster Bank there. Thanks very much, Raymond. Pádraig, so do you think that's the general sentiment that obviously these are the cracked eggs for the omelette that we're chewing on at the moment, and when it all beds in and when that work's finished, that the town will be better for it?
Oh, I think for the pedestrians and all that, and as Raymond said, the flow of traffic will ease. It will assist in the flow of the traffic around the town and stuff. And I guess the council definitely need to take a look at either we put a multi-storey car park somewhere or develop.
I think you and I are both old enough to know the plans for that. I think there were plans for that.
There was,
a few times in different places, but anyway. Maybe we're in a different era now.
Someday it'll have to come around because, it's not that cars are getting less and less, it's more and more. And, I hope that the council are looking after the residents on these streets as well, and assisting them, and that that the traffic warden has a bit of sympathy too with people as well over this time as well.
Somewhat so that's a bit of an oxymoron there, but I understand the point that you're trying to make. Okay, okay. Listen, thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate you taking the call, and thanks to Raymond as well.
No bother, Greg. And congratulations again to you and your team.
It's very, very nice of you to say. Thanks, Parg, the Mayor of Donegal Town. There's Stella of Stella's Boutique. Hi, Stella. Stella, can you hear me? Hello? Right, we'll take a break, then we'll get Stella through, hopefully.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Killybegs should attend the clinic in the Tara Hotel in Killybegs on Monday 9th of October, and donors from Donegal and Dunloe should attend the clinic in the Abbey Hotel in Donegal Town from Tuesday 10th to Thursday 12th. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 or visit our website to book your time. New donors are vital. Visit GiveBlood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
Find out how the budget will affect your farm and family in this week's Irish Farmers Journal. €60 million in extra funding for acres and organics. Government commits €200 per suckler cow. €5,000 stock relief boost for farmers. Sheep farmers to get extra €8 per ewe. New limit on land leasing tax reliefs. €8 million fund for tillage farmers. And new higher TAMS funding for slurry storage. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Check out Sister Sarah's, the ultimate gastropub experience in Letterkenny, with a fresh, exciting new menu. Why not celebrate your special occasion in one of our 3 private function rooms? You can catch all the live sport on our 12 screens daily, with some of the best live music and entertainment in the Northwest every weekend. In Sister Sarah's, serving food you'll love from Wednesday to Sunday.
Sheridan Security, now introducing Zero Wire Smart Alarm Systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
Donegal GAA fans, Michael Murphy Sports has 30% of all official Donegal GAA leisure wear. Show your support for Donegal in style and grab your favourite leisure wear at unbeatable prices. But hurry, the sale ends this Monday the 16th with free next day delivery on orders over €85. Shop and save online at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport, where you can now fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect via Heathrow to over 80 destinations worldwide, including Boston, New York and more.
Largely dry today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells, though a few spots of drizzle may occur near the coast. Cloud will thicken this afternoon, temperatures 11 to 13 degrees. Now, we were talking about the changes to the traffic layout, road layout in Donegal Town. One of the issues raised there was the issue of buses parking on the Diamond. Very convenient, of course, but it does interfere with the flow of traffic. And we do know plans are afoot. I'm not sure if they were mentioned. Plans are afoot for a new transport hub for Donegal Town. The buses eventually will be moved off the Diamond to where I can't think of just off the top of my head. But I wanted to speak to Stella from Stella's Boutique. Hi, Stella. No, it's line. Stella, you're there. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Finally, I get to speak to you. How have you found footfall business has been since this work began?
I'd say it has dipped a bit, but footfall, it's mid-October, so it's going
hard to judge,
from,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's hard to judge. And to be quite honest with you, I will happily tolerate the disruption now for a more efficient system in the future. And, if we, at the same time, if we deal with the bus situation, and hopefully this work that's going on now will create the flow so that the buses will be able to move. Because up until now, you couldn't put them anywhere else because they wouldn't be able to go. The flow wasn't there.
Yeah.
So if that happens and we get more parking, I think it'll all be for a positive result.
Yeah, because all towns, busy towns, it's great that they're busy, but Donegal town can be a little bit like others too. There are no-go times, or it feels like that, you know, and you would often see cars on the approaches when it's clear there's a few buses about and it's generally busy, doing a U-turn and heading off, you know, whatever their business might be. You don't want to see people being discouraged like that, do you? You want, especially with a bypass town, you want as much flow of traffic as possible.
Exactly, and like we have 2 hotels on the Diamond, and both hotels host bus tours, and there's nowhere else for them to go. They have to drop them off and pick them up outside there. But it all happens, it seems to happen at the same time as CI or Bus Éireann buses are coming. So it does create a total gridlock.
And you
then
throw in taxis and local link and the school transport.
Yes,
exactly.
everything, yes.
And
but,
it can't be like that's good and that what have you, but it has to be to the benefit of all businesses, and it just requires a little bit of reorganisation. So you're welcoming the works. Anything that increases the flow of traffic through the town and stopping in the town is to be welcomed, and you're prepared to suffer this inconvenience, which is actually not at a bad time, I suppose, maybe, rather than in the peak of season. You're happy enough to go along with it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Where are you located, Stella, for those who want to visit you?
I'm just on the edge of the Diamond, just between Triona Design and the Blueberry Tea Rooms.
Beautiful, just on the corner.
Get a nice cup of coffee and, yeah.
And what kind of stuff do you sell, Stella? What kind of stuff do you sell?
I sell all sustainable clothing, ladies' clothes. The only thing I'll do for you, Greg, is a pair of socks. I do men's organic cotton socks.
As long as they're organic and sustainable, that'll do. So it's Stella for all your sustainable clothing needs. Okay, Stella, listen, hopefully a few people will pop down and see you now too as well. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate
thank you,
it.
Greg.
Take care.
Okay, thank you.
That's
no
Stella of Stella's Boutique. Thanks to Raymond Rooney of Peter Mann's, another good outlet, and also Porrick Kennedy, who was on discussing that stuff with us as well. Right, shall we go to some comments? Greg, in relation to the mental health crisis, I studied for 5 years to become a psychologist. I spent 2 years an assistant psychologist and then had to leave because I don't have a doctorate. I applied for it 4 years in a row, but there's only 9 places per year in most universities, and the course is mentally and physically tough. So I've all this experience and a master's degree that I can't use. How frustrating is that? Another caller says, there are 15 ramps from the top of Glencar to the cathedral. I personally go over them 4 times every day, and I have no doubt it's not good for my car. I would love to know what do our taxis think, as I'm sure they go over them a lot more than I do. Could I cancel, not put up a number of speed cameras, as I'm fully supportive of slow driving in our towns? I would say if you spoke to taxi drivers that operate in urban areas with ramps versus those that operate outside, there's little bushings and what have you in parts of the Four Corners that would go more routinely, I would imagine, around an urban area than they might in a where it's more rural driving. But then again, I suppose that rural driving can also create its challenges. I just want to mention a couple of competitions, if you don't mind. Well, one competition, but also that social media competition is still running, isn't it, Anya? That social, it is, of course. Right, I'll mention that in a moment, but I just want to give this a quick mention too. If you're a fan of musicals, you're going to be a fan of Sister Act. It's a divine musical comedy. Eagerly anticipated brand new production of the Broadway smash hit musical Sister Act. It's on its way to the Bord Gáis Energy Theatre in Dublin. Now, we've had great interest in this, so if you want to be part of the Highland Radio family heading down to Dublin, please get your calls in as soon as you can, because it's a cracking Christmas present. You can join Highland Radio as we make this unforgettable trip to the show on Friday the 23rd of February 2024, which I think there's 74 days to Christmas, so the end of February just around the corner. The trip, what does it include? Luxury transfers, coach travel down there, bed and breakfast at the 4-star City North Hotel in Dublin. You get a really good ticket for the show. So if you want to get on a bus, be taken down there, parked outside the hotel. You get in, have your bed and breakfast, your great ticket to the show, and then a few hours the following morning for a bit of shopping. Sounds lovely for the end of February, doesn't it? Well, if you want to get it for someone as a Christmas present or just to treat yourself, 074 91 25,000 with more information, 074 91 25,000. Or you can also visit our website, highlandradio.com. So I just wanted to mention this social media competition that's running as well. It's in association with our friends at Foy and Company. So Foy and Company are giving one of you, a lucky winner, the chance to win. Well, if you are the lucky winner, you've won it already, but they're giving you, one of you, the chance to win a €200 voucher to spend in one of their stores. To be in with a chance of winning, you just head on over to our socials and follow the rules over there. Make sure you are following both Foy and Company and Highland Radio on both Instagram and Facebook. That's Highland Hub, by the way. The winner will be announced on Monday, the 16th of October. T's and C's apply. Now, this is a very important thing, and it's not just for competitions we run here, but I think for lots of people that use social media to run competitions, just to advise you that winners will only be announced from the Highland Radio official accounts. Some people with very little time, a lot of time in their hands, create clone pages and send out numerous messages saying, oh, you've won this, that. We will announce it on our page. It will be announced on our page, and that's how you will find out. So please be aware of fake account pages impersonating Highland, but it's not just Highland. It's a whole go of different companies that would run competitions. So get on to our socials, Instagram and Facebook, and you could win that €200 voucher to spend in one of the Foy and Company stores, all right? And all you have to do is follow the tame instructions. Let me see. Donegal town, fortunate to have a bypass, diverted thousands of cars away from the town centre. Congestion just shows how commercially successful and how busy a tourist hub it is. It's a lovely town to visit, just needs more parking indeed, and it is a lovely town. Right, tomorrow on the programme we start things off with the Friday panel. We've a great panel, as always, lined up to discuss some of the big stories of the day and week. We want you involved in that. I'll remind you of that in the morning. That's entertainment's coming up tomorrow and so much more besides. So please rejoin us at 9. But for me, Greg Hughes and the team, have a lovely Thursday. Stay tuned. John Breslin's coming up around the Northwest next.